What's up, everybody? It's the Soul Sonic Force. No, I'm just kidding. What's going on, everybody? It is your man, Sean Zittel, holding it down from the elaborate, illustrious, high-tech studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I was supposed to be in Norfolk, Virginia tonight, but Keshan Davis winds up not making weight for the first title defense of his career of the WBO lightweight title. So instead, we have Abdullah Mason, the young bull Abdullah Mason, joining us tonight as the main event. And yeah, that's what we're doing. So a lot of good talent on this card tonight. Scooter Davis got a second-round knockout. Keshan Davis got a knockout, the younger brother of Keshan Davis. And now you got Delonte Tiger Johnson going up against Boca Chica from Puerto Rico. So Danielson, Boca Chica. So it's good to be joined by everyone. What's going on? Keon is definitely a problem, bro. What's going on, Aaron Anderson? What's up, David Bedford? I'm gonna go back and watch Keon again when Tiger's fight wraps up. I'm gonna go back and watch a couple of them because we're gonna have some time to kill before we get to 10 o'clock East Coast time. But right now we got Tiger making his second fight at 147 at welterweight. And Tiger, being an Olympian from the last the 2020 Olympic Games, not the last Olympic Games, always has had upside, in my opinion, hand, speed, length, and talent. But at 140, he was a little light in the ass, and it turns out he was cutting too much weight. And Tiger hasn't shown us that blue chip can't miss ability yet, but the upside has always been there. Amateur background, talent, hand, speed. And he got a nice knockout in his first fight at welterweight. So we had Tiger on the show, on the Porter Way show, 3 or 4 weeks ago. So, got to know Tiger better, got to know about his Olympic journey and how he had to listen to Sean Paul's Temperature 4,700 times on one trip because it was all that was available on his iPod. So, yeah, got to know him. Good dude from Cleveland. But here he is in fight number 2 at welterweight, Prince Brewer as his trainer. And right now he's putting the jab in Boca Chica's face about halfway through the round, stepping over to his left, fighting on his back foot, catching the right hands coming his way up on his left glove from Boca Chica and circling the ring. Now Boca Chica getting to the body, tries an uppercut with Tiger against the ropes, and Tiger ties him up, separates himself, gets himself back in the center of the ring. And Tiger being very accurate with his jab, shoots the left uppercut off the jab and a straight right hand. But Tiger's accurate with the jab right now in round 2. Try to counter with a right uppercut in the center of the ring right there. Step back, right uppercut, counter. And you just want to see Tiger right here, create and navigate off his jab in the center of the ring. Because he's landing it to the body and to the head against Boca Chica. And, sometimes fighters these days in particular want to follow up the jab as soon as possible and just use it as a means to an end to land another shot. But if you're landing your jab clean and practically at will when you throw it, see right there, Tiger trying to lead with a left hook and Boca Chica gets underneath it. Tiger getting away from his jab, and that lets Boca Chica get him to the ropes and roughhouse him a little bit as Tiger holds on and makes the ref separate him. But, to play fake-ass boxing trainer, which I'm very good at, being a fake one, then, Tiger right there got away from his jab in the last minute of the round, and then you saw the offense plateau and stall out. So Tiger up 2-0 to start this fight, but you want to see the jab because again, a lot of guys in this era will use the jab as a means to an end. But if you're landing it, you can pile up points and dominate behind the jab and double it up and go use it to the head and to the body. And eventually the other fighter will give you more opportunities when he's sick of that jab in his face all night. It'll make him start to have to create and come forward a little bit more. And then those other punches that you want to get off, they'll be there. They'll be there, more easy to land. But a lot of fighters these days, either they get impatient with the jab or bored with the jab or a number of those kind of things. But let's see what's going on, everybody. Saludos, Jesus M. What's up, Kicks God? What's up, brother? Said newbie. Aid for Sue. So, tough name to say, but said Sean streaming again. Let's go. Jesus M said you're not at the fights. No, I canceled my flight because I wasn't going to get back home till like Monday morning. And that's a long time away from my family. That's a lot of money spent on hotel and lifts to and from the arena, as well as the $500 flight. And I just said, you know what? Let me get that money back. Let's stay home, and let's do a round by round with the highest IQ boxing chat on the net. Let's do that instead. So, all right, round 3. And Boca Chica trying to push Tiger to the ropes. Tiger exchanging with his back on the ropes, and that's dangerous. I don't think Prince Brewer liked that. Tiger letting himself get back straight up to the ropes, and he trades right hands with Boca Chica. And again, Tiger is finding his back on the ropes more here, getting away from the jab and beginning to question his distance and those kinds of things. The jab will let you know where Boca Chica's at all times. Tiger that time lands the jab, gets underneath the right hand, pivots out to his left, back in the center of the ring. We're a minute into this third round. Tiger bends his knees, drops the lead hand, eats a jab from Boca Chica as he trades jab. Tiger trying to step back counter to the body. But again, getting away from that jab makes it harder to control Boca Chica. Center of the ring, both fighters. Tiger swaying his body left to right a little bit, measures with the lead hand. They trade jabs, double jab. And Boca Chica is smart to use his own jab here on the front foot. Boca Chica has a chance to win this round right now, halfway through it. Not a lot to choose from so far. Tiger jabbing to the chest. Double jab by Tiger, and that lifts up Boca Chica's head. Boca Chica trying to cut the distance. Nice jab again by Tiger, doubling it up, and like to see that 1-2 off the jab by Tiger. He tries it right there, 1-2, but Boca Chica kind of felt it coming and made him fall short that time. Tiger getting back to his jab, though, and that's allowing him to control this round for a minute. Boca Chica makes him back straight out, tries to follow him out with a left hook, makes him fall short. Ooh, left hook lands for Boca Chica. Minute left in the third. Tiger ties him up right after that. But that left hook got in. Tiger thought he was going to let the jab go. Nice right hand to the body by Tiger. Step back, little right uppercut to the body, ties Boca Chica up. 40 seconds left in the round. Tiger holding his ground in the center of the ring, taking half steps back. He wants that right hand. Boca Chica not walking into it early on. And Tiger will have to find a way to get that right hand in as the fight goes on. But Boca Chica staying defensively responsible and not forgetting about his jab on the way in. But there's a welt on the top of Boca Chica's head. But Tiger wants him to get overzealous and walk into a right hand. Tiger tried to walk him into the right hand right there. Boca Chica getting wild in his punch selection there, but Tiger not lining him up with the right hand. Good jab lands for Tiger, and we'll look out as the fight goes on. That's it for round 3. Boca Chica, uncouth, talking trash to Tiger. Tiger talking back to him, and you know, Tiger's got a guy in front of him with some confidence and who's got 17 wins, 3 losses, a guy who came to win. Good little right hand over the top of Tiger's jab, and that's part of why that jab isn't always pumping either. You're fighting a professional who knows how to pull over the top of that jab with the right hand. But Aaron Anderson said Tiger's jab is there all day. Who's winning, says Jesus M. Nebayu. Oh, okay, Nebayu. I got you, Nebayu. Yeah, I botched it bad. I'm sorry. Aaron says the height with Keshan Davis being 6'3" at welterweight is deadly. I saw Shakur tweet about it and say that, you know, modern day Thomas Hearns in reference to Keshan. I've seen Keshan, and you know he impresses me more than Kelvin, than the other Davis brother. Yeah, Keshan looks like he could be a problem. I'm going to go back and watch a bit of his fight after this one when we got some time to kill. But I have been impressed by Keshan Davis. I do think he's better than the other, the older Keshan Davis brother, Kelvin Davis. So round 4 starts now. Boca Chica is the guy on the front foot more. He's letting combinations go. None of them finding the chin, finding the mark of Tiger, but made him go straight back into the corner. Now Boca Chica is taunting Tiger. And you just want to see, well, let's just see what goes down. Tiger jabbing to the chest. Boca Chica matching his jab in the center of the ring. Lead left hook by Boca Chica falls short. Tiger countering with the right hand. And again, you can see that's the punch Tiger's sitting on. He wants to walk him into that straight right hand. And that's part of why Boca Chica's getting off 2, 3, 4 punches at a time, because Tiger's trying to let him shoot something off and walk him in and punch him in between shots. But that's letting Boca Chica, like right here, get some moments where he gets off first, and none of it's real effective. But he's getting off first. He's getting rough with Tiger in the clinches. Good jab by Tiger out of the high guard. Shoots a shotgun jab and catches what's coming back. Tiger, again, short with that pull right hand over the top of the jab, but that's what he really wants. And, watching from where we're watching, it's almost like, you can't force it. You just got to create off the jab, take the openings that are there, because he knows you want that pull right hand. Boca Chica dropping both hands to his side, doing a lot of clowning. And you'll see that from guys like Boca Chica when they're in against a highly touted, undefeated Olympic type of prospect. They'll just do things to make you look bad, to make it ugly. I recorded that fight with Kermel Moton last week, Renny Viamonte. Those guys just want to make you look bad. They just want to make it look like you're a hype job. Sometimes it's not even about winning for them. 50 seconds left. Tiger off with the 1-2, short with the jab. And Tiger, if he wants to look more impressive, he's got to step it up behind the jab, be a little bit busier. Because right now he's waiting on Boca Chica a lot. Because Boca Chica, not the sharpest puncher with his punch selection. And he sees openings. He sees that counter right hand is there, but he's waiting on it too much. And again, it's letting Boca Chica just get through this fight and not make Tiger look good. Tiger this round in the fourth hasn't done a whole lot. And again, he's allowed Boca Chica to get off first a majority of this round. Not a lot of effective work by Boca Chica. I don't even know if he won that round, but Tiger didn't do anything impressive in that round. And, that's just me calling it like I see it. I think he's waiting on the counter shot a little bit too much. On the right hand, the pull right hand a little bit too much. He sees Boca Chica is giving him opportunities where Boca Chica gets off first with 2 or 3 or 4 punches, and he's not super accurate. So he thinks he can line him up for the perfect shot, but he's waiting on the perfect shot a little bit too much. So, yeah, he wants that step back. Boom. That's what Tiger wants. That's what it looks like he wants. He's keeping it home. He wants that step back, boom, right down the pipe, walk him into it. But, you're fighting a grizzled professional, not a bum. He's not just going to run into that. What's up, SP Beats? What's up, Maria? Good to see you, Maria. SP Beats says, I like the Blitz cabinet you got back there. Oh, yes, all day. NFL Blitz. Maybe the greatest football game ever. It actually holds up really well if you put on tournament mode and turn off the rubber band AI. You can get some real competitive, fun games going. But anyway, round 5, dry fight right now. Not an exciting fight. And Tiger in the center of the ring. Not being super busy in this fight. And you can see Prince Brewer, his trainer, wants more. Tiger stepping over to his left, letting his jab go, and he's got a good jab. You'd like to see it used a little bit more. To give credit to Boca Chica, he's proficient enough to time the jab at times with his right hand, and really the pull right hand has eliminated the output of the jab in today's era. And I've said this on a couple of streams, but we'll talk about it here again, and we'll talk about it more times because it's going to bear repeating. The Steph Curry with the 3-point shot, as it exploded, less and less big men played in the paint with their back to the basket, and the game changed. Floyd Mayweather, to me, in kind of a similar vein, was so proficient and made the pull right hand so iconic. And before Floyd Mayweather, there were iconic jabs like Oscar De La Hoya's, Larry Holmes, Muhammad Ali, Iquarte, but Floyd and Manny made their money off their backhand, their brick hand the most. Floyd's most iconic. Floyd had a check hook that was iconic. He had a lead hook, and his jab to the body was iconic. But I think the one that got played the most on replays was the pull right hand, especially once his fame took off, around the De La Hoya fight. And all these young guys have studied that pull right hand. And the pull right hand, it makes the other guy stop using his jab. And I feel like part of the jab output going down is a credit to Floyd Mayweather's counterpunching and him being the guy everybody looked up to. And now instead of coming out like rest in peace to Mike McCallum, every fighter back in the day used to come out circling to their left and pumping their jab, doubling, tripling it up, head, body, and kind of doing this like Bud Crawford did against Spence. Sometimes putting the hand here, putting it here, off the jab, putting it here to catch what's coming back. Anyway, Floyd came along and became so good at pulling over the top. And Muhammad Ali had an amazing pull right hand over the top of the jab. But something about Floyd, in the modern YouTube era, it stuck into the consciousness of today's fighters. And so similar to how big men, they're not in the paint with their back to the basket the way they once were with Olajuwon and Shaq and Ewing, a lot of the fighters aren't doubling and tripling and being busy with the jab because they're thinking about pulling over the top with the right hand instead. They grew up watching Floyd Mayweather. So yeah, that's one of my takes on why you don't see a lot of great jabbers in today's boxing, at least in America. So like right now, Tiger, right there, pull right hand by Boca Chica over the top of Tiger's jab. You see it right here on the slow-mo. And that right there has, eliminated some of the jab output. And also fighters, I don't think fighters, I think they don't like getting hit as much. I don't think fighters back in the day liked getting hit, but I think they didn't mind. It wasn't a mental block. It was, you're going to get hit. And another, again, like Floyd Mayweather being the guy all these guys look up to, nobody wants to get hit because Floyd hardly got hit. And when they used to double that jab and triple that jab up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, the other guy's jab would fire back and sometimes land on the top of the head, but they would have their chin tucked, they'd have their right hand in place somewhere, and they didn't give a fuck. It was, they would just eat that shit on the top of the head and get to work and still let the jab go. Nowadays, I think a fighter, they feel that jab coming on the top of the head and they're not going to throw the second and third and fourth, keep pumping it. That's going to make them reset. So just a few things different in today's game, I think. And I said all that because no action really happened in the 5th round and no action's really happening in the 6th round with Tiger Johnson. So that you'll see this. Now there's the jab by Tiger, doubling, tripling it up. Boca Chica shakes his head, but Tiger shouldn't pay that mind. Boca Chica comes right back with a right hand to the body off his jab. Double jab by Tiger. Tiger tries that right hand over the top of the jab. So that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of both guys at times hesitate to use their jab because the other guy wants to pull the right hand over the top of the other fighter's jab, and that slows down the pace for both guys. And that's what I think you're seeing a lot of. And I think Boca Chica's a little bit more willing to be first, a little bit more willing to take chances, but he's not the more skilled fighter. So the guy who's willing to get off more can't really get off against the more skilled fighter, and the guy who is the more skilled fighter isn't as willing to get off first. And so you got, a dull fight playing out, a dull, awkward kind of chess match. So I believe it's more of an accomplishment to hit your opponent and not get hit so much nowadays, says Aaron. Yeah, but they need to change it to not get hit and hit, because when they would always defend dull fights with, and I'm not talking about boxing someone's ears off beautifully, I'm talking about defending a dull performance. They'll say, hit and don't get hit. They need to change it to don't get hit and hit, because that's what you're really doing. You're not hit and don't get hit. You're not getting hit first and then finding little spots to hit. So I would amend that argument to, well, the name of the game is hit and don't get hit. It's like, yeah, but tonight you did don't get hit and hit. You didn't do hit and don't get hit. Hit and don't get hit is what Bernard did to Tito. Good left hook by Tiger that time. That time Tiger mixed up the punch selection. His second or third punch in between Boca Chica's punches was a left hook, and Boca Chica felt that shot. And Boca Chica doing a lot of clowning, a lot of hands at his side. And that's what these dudes like Boca Chica will do. They'll just make sure you don't look good. And they'll make the distance. And Prince Brewer looks very frustrated in the corner of Tiger Johnson. But Tiger definitely won that 6th round. He got his jab out there a little bit more, and he landed that left hook in between shots. So a little bit better round by Tiger, but another frustrating performance that isn't going to convince anybody Tiger's the next guy at welterweight. Tiger's had a lot of performances like this. Let's see here. SP Beats, I need a Killer Instinct in Mortal Kombat Ultimate cabinet. Yeah, if I had that MTV Cribs early 2000s money, I would have a whole bunch of OG original arcade cabinets lined up, but SP Beats says Floyd's pull counter was crazy, especially in the Marquez fight. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. All right. I'm trying to fix this camera. I feel like it's a little too high. I feel like OBS has been giving me weird camera angles. But whatever. Let me clean this thing for a second there, chat. Oh. All right. Oh, that should be a little bit better. But all right, let's get back to the action here. Tiger, there you go. Tiger letting his hands go a little bit more. When Tiger opens up and lets his hands go, you see the talent. He's got speed and he has power. You can see he's got something in those fists. But got to find a way to get off a little bit more. Be a little bit, let the punch selection fly a little bit more. Tonight it's been very basic. It's been a lot of jabs and then waiting on the step back, counter right hand. He hasn't gone to the body a lot. He hasn't worked levels with his jab. He hasn't feinted. When he lets his hands go, you can see there's something in his hands. He's got fast hands. He's got some power and some pop. He's got talent. But where's the feints? There's a good combination by Tiger. Double jab, straight right hand, left hook. More of that. When he throws combinations, it looks good. And instead of poking and prodding and waiting for the perfect shot and let those fast hands work. If you put 3, 4, 5 together, something's going to land. He's not going to be able to catch everything. There's a right hand by Tiger off the ropes. Walked Boca Chica. Boca Chica getting a little more reckless in the 7th because Tiger let a few combinations go that made him have to up his output. But you'd like to see double jab, combination off the double jab by Tiger. Good slip out to his left there by Tiger in the center of the ring, but you can see Coach Brewer wants more. He wants more off that pivot. Good right hand counter to the body by Tiger. He snuck in a right uppercut to the body in between Boca Chica's punch. Minute left in the round. Tiger stepping to his left. Has his jab cocked. Doesn't let it go. Picks it back up. Boca Chica gets off with the jab. Tiger straight right hand, left hook. Both miss. But then he slips in that right uppercut to the body, and Boca Chica drives him to the ropes to tie up. The timing and the punch selection off by Tiger. It's sometimes the positioning's right there. He'll step right back or pivot right to his left and land the jab, but not follow it up, not do something off that move. Got my wife in the chat. What's up, Panama? What's up, my wife, Samantha? Did I post on my Twitter that I'm live? I did not, babe. Feel free to if you'd like. Panama saying Tiger fighting scary. Timid. Yeah, timid. Yes. I won't scary, I won't put on him, Panama, because he's winning the fight. But to your point, Boca Chica is fighting like the fighter with more balls. Like he's the one at risk of running into some shit, and yet he's still getting off more sometimes and taking the lead, getting off first. Tiger won that 7th round. His jab was accurate, but to Panama's point, you'd want to see, you'd want to double jab, rip the body with a combination, finish up with the right hand. Tiger's got some good combinations when he lets it go, but he's so focused on that step back game right now. Stepping back off the jab, stepping back, and it's like, Boca Chica, leave your chin out there and run into something, please. And it's like, I don't know if he's going to do that, Tiger. If he's not going to do that, right now his coach is asking, keep it tight and rip the combinations. That's what his coach is asking for in the corner. But you could see that Tiger doesn't have the confidence that they have in the corner. And if you read his body language, it's like, I hear you, coach, but we got 3 rounds left. I'm going to just, play it safe and get this victory is kind of what it looks like he's processing in the corner. That he's listening to what his coach is saying. He acknowledged, I get you, I hear you, but I'm probably going to do this. So we got 3 rounds left. Tiger moving out to his right, moving out to his left, off of his jab. Good jab by Tiger. Tiger got a good jab. He lands it well. Punches landed in this fight, 59 for Tiger, 48 for Boca Chica. Boca Chica gets Tiger on the ropes. Let's go with a good combination. Tiger ties him up. Tiger not willing to fight on the inside there against Boca Chica. Nelly says, as a prospect, what is the impact of the last 48 hours on Keshan? Will promoters take him seriously? Will he keep getting big opportunities and fights? Very unprofessional. Yeah, he just hurt his stock. And yes, he'll definitely get more opportunities. He's a 26-year-old former world champion and silver medalist. He will for sure get more opportunities, but he just stunted his ascent. He was the champions that preceded him. Shakur, Teo, Devin, Tank. They've had their missteps. Tank with the Roach fight. Tank with underwhelming people with his ambition. Good left hook by Tiger on the inside that time. That makes Boca Chica back off. Good right hand by Tiger and a left hook to the body. He's got Boca Chica on the ropes. That was a good moment there by Tiger. Boca Chica, to his credit, was letting combinations go, and that allowed Tiger to punch off of that double left hook by Tiger. Body head. Boca Chica staying in the kitchen. Right hand to the body by Boca Chica. Right uppercut to the body by Tiger. And this is what we want to see. We want to see these guys stay in the pocket and rip and see what Tiger's got. The coach wants Tiger to rip in the pocket. Tiger bites that bottom lip, shoots that jab, plants his feet, backs Boca Chica up. The coach is begging for Tiger to let something go. Double jab by Tiger's right hand to the body, left hook up top. Boca Chica ties up along the ropes. Boca Chica with a 2-1, straight right hand, jab, and then he smothers Tiger in the center of the ring. 30 seconds left. Let's see if Tiger can make something explosive happen. He's got the explosiveness. There it is. Right hand to the body, left hook up top by Tiger. Keep ripping. Jab by Tiger. Boca Chica with a double jab back at Tiger. Keeping him off. Good left hook by Tiger. Double left hook by Tiger. That left hook is landing in between Boca Chica letting his right hand go. Some good left hooks this round by Tiger. The coach wants more. Coach Brewer wants him to rip. But Tiger content to just step back and check with the left hook. Good left hook counters that round by Tiger. A little bit more offense because Boca Chica just let his combinations go, and Tiger just sniped with the left hook a couple of times, 3-4 times, almost half a dozen times. But anyways, like I was saying about Keshan, this is a missed opportunity because all those other young guys are faltering, and the fans are growing a little disenchanted with them. It's like, we called you the Four Kings, and we want. Okay, you're not boys anymore. You're grown men. Time to fight each other. Time to put the sport on your back. Like the original ambition was for them coming up. And so Devin has his misstep with Garcia. He doesn't look good in his next fight with Ramirez. Teofimo's all over the place in terms of the things he does and says outside the ring and his performances in the ring. Ryan can't realize his talent. Shakur having underwhelming performances, against Nakathila, De Los Santos. And so people getting a little, the shine of those guys, a little dimmed, even though they're all still doing their thing and making money and being in big fights. So here enter Keshan Davis, the Olympian, the thoroughbred from the Olympics, right? He knocks out Lemos in 2 rounds, who blew the weight. Now we're excited. Now he fights Baranchyk at the Garden. He disposes of him in easy fashion. All right, here we go. And then he does this. So, yeah, it stunts his ascent, that's for sure. It definitely knocks him back. I mean, you think about Teofimo beating Lomachenko. He's up the, rocket ship, and he kills his ascent. And that's what, by losing to Kambosos, that's, kind of what Keshan did. He's stunted his ascent. So, but the story isn't just about Keshan. It's about all these talented and some of them decorated. Not just talented, decorated, accomplished, 30 and under. I got to say 30 because of Tank. If you take Tank out of it, they're all really 26, 27 and under. American talents with athleticism and talent having this immaturity, having this culture that they're coming up in that is not fulfilling the previous great American generations in boxing. The 90s and early 2000s and all that. So that's becoming the story, and Keshan is the latest development in that ongoing story. And the question is, this is the storyline for Abdullah Mason to capitalize on tonight, is which one of these talented young American fighters, and right now Tiger is landing a lot of left hooks, but Boca Chica's walking through them and still trying to get off first. Which one of them can kind of break this spell, this post-Floyd Mayweather being too obsessed with money and the fame and all that? Which young, hungry champion from America is going to break that spell and forge his new path? Terrence Crawford did it in his time, right? But Crawford and not being able, good left hook by Tiger too. Boca Chica just letting his hands go with flurries and combinations, and Tiger sniping the right uppercut to the body, sniping the left hook up top. But Tiger not letting the combinations go, picking one shot at a time to counter with, and that is smart. But Nazim Richardson called it swimming without getting wet. Not swim without getting wet. He swim without getting wet. One shot at a time, catch, nothing getting through. But he's not swimming, and not swimming. He swim without getting wet. Decent round again by Tiger Johnson on his way to a win. But yeah, Abdullah Mason would appear to have some of the qualities that could break the spell of just wanting to be a true champion and a great ass fighter. And although a little pause was his reaction to Keshan Davis, all these guys, they show the promise, they flash the talent, and then they give you a red flag or a pause somewhere to make you go, ooh, I don't know if he's the next truly great one, right? And Abdullah's is appetite for smoke. That's his whole, I love it. That's great branding by Abdullah. It's authentic, it's boxing, it's not gimmicky, it works. Appetite for smoke. Who can't get on board with a fighter whose catchphrase is appetite for smoke? The problem is, like, Keshan Davis is the businessman, but then he fucks up his whole business by blowing weight and walks away with no money. That's not being the businessman. And for Abdullah to be the young bull with the appetite for smoke, and the smoke is presented to you, and you didn't seem that hungry. You have the appetite for smoke. Keshan Davis pushes a big gourmet plate in front of you and says, "Here it is." And the first thing you didn't have the appetite to scarf it. Give it to me. I gotta eat it right away. It was, what's in this? Is this kosher? Does this have gluten in it? I don't know. I'm allergic to this and that. What's in this? What's in this smoke? Like that. That's the funny joke I would make. The analogy I'd make was, you say you have an appetite for smoke. Well, they pushed the gourmet meal in front of you, and you went, "What's in this? What's in this?" Before I dig in and eat it. Well, I thought you had the appetite for it, but I'm making a joke. I'm being funny. The point is, maybe Abdullah is that he's got the right temperament. He's not another Haney, Lopez, Tank. Maybe he's got, because he watches fighters from the black and white days. He he admires Floyd Mayweather, but Floyd Mayweather is not a god to him. A lot of these kids look at Floyd as a god, and I get it. Who wouldn't want the career he had? But maybe Abdullah Mason enters center stage tonight as one of the first non-Mayweather disciples coming up from the American amateur program with a ton of talent. And his mind state is different and influenced differently on how he wants to move and his ambitions in the game. Because that's kind of what we need. We kind of need, because all those guys are good. I don't mean to knock them. Half of them at least are going to wind up in the Hall of Fame, right? Like 4 out of 5 of those guys I mentioned earlier might make the Hall of Fame. Shakur, Tank, Devin, and Tio all could make the Hall of Fame. Ryan, not happening unless some great run is within him. That doesn't seem likely. But so it's not like I'm not saying those guys aren't doing their thing, but who's the American fighter that's going to kind of break the spell and forge a new identity and mentality for young American fighters? So we'll see. Crawford kind of did. Ward did. They did their thing in the midst of the Mayweather, the big Mayweather influence era. But they're older. They got their start as champions when Floyd was still active. So it's a different dynamic with Crawford and Andre Ward to Mayweather. All these other young guys literally grew up idolizing him. So that mentality weighs heavily on their psyche. So Matt Borgenson, thank you for the super chat, said, this situation for Abdullah Mason, being bullied by Keshan missing weight, Abdullah getting the golden ticket to have his own event above Keshan's brother, it's karma, poetic, rivalry. It is. There is something karmic about it for Abdullah Mason. Within a span of a few 24 hours, he goes from having this viral moment where Keshan, people think he punked him, right? I will say this for Abdullah though. I first heard that moment. I heard it. I was driving. I'm watching my Twitter timeline. Everybody's talking about it. Put it on my car speaker, and I'm listening to it. And I'm like, oh, man, Keshan, he made the young bull swallow his tongue a little bit. He stunned him, right? And then I watched the video, and the eyes are the window to the soul, Chico. They don't lie. And when I could see Abdullah's temperament in his eyes, in his face, in his body language, it wasn't as bad as I heard it. And, don't get me wrong, Keshan still won that moment. His first response shouldn't be when the guy you said you want to fight for the title says, do you want to fight me next? Your first word shouldn't be I'm not spinning it as a positive moment for Abdullah. But once I actually got to sit down and watch it, he didn't seem shook. He, again, it was Keshan's moment more than it was his moment. But watching it again, he didn't seem shook. He just got, I don't know what the right word is for it, but to say he was shook would be a little too strong. Startled, surprised a little bit. And why? He shouldn't have been surprised. You said you'd fight him. You had to know in the back of your mind there was a chance he was going to do that at the press conference. But I'm very, very high on Abdullah Mason. He has electricity in his hands. And I think in terms of him punching, and we'll talk about this later in the night too, it'll come up again. I think in terms of punching, shooting the shots, he's already right there with anybody. He already might be in some ways more special than a Keshan, more special than Tio and Devin. But this game ain't just about shooting your punches off. It's about positioning, feints, timing, distance management, knowing when you can throw it, where you can throw it at. All that kind of stuff is what Abdullah lacks against those guys. And one reason I think Abdullah lacks it, he has no old heads in his corner. His corner is his father and his brothers. They are learning on the job at the top level of professional boxing. Fighters like Devin and Keshan have had years and decades of great old wisdom passed on to them, game given to them. Devin from Mike McCallum, rest in peace, Roy Jones, Floyd Mayweather, on and on and on and on and on. Ben Davison getting his hands on him as a trainer. Several, Floyd Mayweather Sr., Roger Mayweather, on and on. Keshan trains with Terrence Crawford. He trains with all the different Olympians that have come through. He had Bomac and all those guys. They have years and decades of wisdom and experience behind them. Abdullah, it's just him and his brothers and his dad. So the art of feinting, the art of distance control, the art of managing rounds and your pace, all that stuff, he's learning on the fly. And you don't see a lot of feints from Abdullah. You don't see sophisticated footwork yet. The punches themselves, once they come out, he's as electric a puncher in terms of hand speed and punching power, that combination of the two. He's already at 20 years old, almost as electric as it gets in the game. But you'll lose to a guy who doesn't have as much electricity in his fist if he knows when to throw at the time you don't, if he feints better than you, if he knows how to manage a 12-round fight better than you. All the little things add up. And it's all those little things that young Abdullah is going to have to learn and become sophisticated with if he's going to reach his potential. And what is his potential? His potential might be better than all of them. He's got the freakishly long arms, son. Son got long arms. Can't teach that. That's like the Michael Jordan big hands. Phil Jackson. What's the difference between Kobe and Michael? Well, the difference between Kobe and Michael is Michael had these extremely large hands that Kobe, he allowed him to creativity with the ball. And I'm being funny, but sometimes that's what could separate the best of the best. What little God-given gift, tool did God bless you with that the other guy don't have? And Abdullah has arms as long as Terrence Crawford and a little bit longer arms than Floyd Mayweather. You add that in with his temperament, that he's more of a God-fearing, serious type fighter, and those freakishly long arms that got electricity in them. And, the sky's the limit. I thought, when I first started watching Abdullah, I said his toughest fight's going to be at the box office. His toughest fight's going to be at the box office. It's not going to be in the ring. It's going to be at the box office. It's going to be, how do you market a humble Muslim kid who just likes to hang out with his brothers all day? It's easy to market controversial people that are outspoken and boisterous and expressive. He's a little bit more of an introvert. I'm not saying he's a church mouse. I'm sure, Abdullah has his own personality when you get to know him and everything, but he doesn't have that marquee name, Teofimo Lopez. The Teofimo Lopez sounds like he could walk down the red carpet at the Latin Grammys. Devin Haney, good, strong, normal American name. Devin the Dream Haney. Shakur Stevenson is named after Tupac. Not bad. Ryan Garcia. Easy to say. Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank, the great nickname. The Floyd Mayweather cosign. The tattoos. The out-of-the-ring controversy. The knockout power. Abdullah Mason isn't a name that jumps off the marquee. It's not a plain old, good old American name. It's his name. And that was my first thought with Abdullah. Oh, his toughest fight's going to be at the box office. He doesn't like to talk a lot of trash. He doesn't have a super marquee name. How is he that? So we'll see if that's the case. But Matt, thank you again for the super chat. Said this puts Abdullah Mason in a position where he wins tonight and he could fight for a world title next and become the new pretty boy great American boxer. That's the hope, Matt. That's the hope, and that's the need at this point in American boxing. He doesn't have Pretty Boy Floyd's footwork or feints or reflexes defensively, but he's got Pretty Boy Floyd's length, and he punches harder than Pretty Boy Floyd, who is a damn good puncher at 130. He punches harder. He has a knockout temperament. He wants the knockout. Floyd had that a bit too, but Floyd was boxer puncher. This kid looks like he could be, a hell of a puncher at 35, but it hasn't been against real top competition, so we don't know. It's what the theme of 2025 for me, and I think most of you would agree, is let the fights play out. In an effort to hold the promotional companies accountable, I called Tank and Roach underwhelming. I said Caleb Plant and Armando Resendez is a mismatch on paper. Resendez is a middleweight moving up. On and on. Rolly and Ryan. Ryan's going to knock Rolly out. This has been by far my worst year picking fights. To make excuses, because all the great ones make excuses, so I will too. My mind hasn't been on who's going to win or who's going to lose as much this year. My mind has been on the Turkey Al-Sheikh stuff, this stuff we're talking about with American boxing and American fighters, and big picture stuff, to where boiling it down to who's going to win, fighter A or fighter B, has seemed smaller than ever to me in the Big 25 in 2025. But another reason I'm picking the fights wrong more than I normally have this year, we've had a lot of fucking upsets. And what I'm learning is, let the fights play out, okay? You could say at first this appears to be a mismatch, but we got to let the fights play out. That's what 25 is teaching us. We all thought Ryan was going to beat Rolly. I think we all thought Caleb was going to beat Resendez. We all thought Tank was going to beat Roach. I know some of you are watching and saying, not me. Good on you. But for the most part, I'm speaking for everybody. And so we got to let the fights play out. And I know part of why we're shooting down these fights is because we want the best fights. It's like we got to shoot down Caleb Plant and Resendez, because Caleb Plant and Berlanga should really be happening. We got to shoot down Tank and Roach, because Tank and Keshan, Tank and Shakur should really be happy. So it comes from a good place. But ultimately, on any given night, anything can happen in boxing. That this year has reinforced that's not just a cliche. It's true. Anything can happen. And the other lesson, gotta stop anointing these guys. And that's been a passion of mine since I got into covering boxing over 10 years ago. I love saying, this guy's next. Because I was good at it. A lot of us are good at it. I knew Canelo had next when he was fighting on Friday Night Fights, and he was fighting on, fighting Carlos Baldomir and Ryan Rhodes and Matthew Hatton. I knew he had next. I knew Devin Haney had next the first time I watched him spar Sean Porter when he was 15 years old. But in an effort to say who's got next, we're cursing these guys. We're setting them up. We're not setting them up well. We're giving them too much too soon, and it's going to their head, and it's robbing them of their ambition to prove themselves a little bit. So those are the two big lessons I've learned in the Big 2025. Let the fights play out, because anything really can happen before you just shoot it down as this guy's going to beat this guy. And it's great to be enamored with the talent of a young fighter. Moses Aitauma, Abdullah Mason. I'm not saying hate on them. I'm not saying don't point out how great their talent is when they're young. And I'm speaking to myself now. This is a lesson for me. Don't give them too much too soon, because if anything, you're not helping them. You're cursing them. You're enabling them to get their head big before they've realized their potential. And that's what the sport needs, is for young, talented fighters to realize their potential. So Matt Borgerson, again, thank you guys for the super chat. Let me say what's up to a few other people in the chat, and let's get to Matt's super chats. But what's up, Paulie Walnuts? What's up, Joss? My bad. I'm trying to scroll through, getting caught on the scroll. Here we go. Trying to drag through this chat. All right, here we go. What's up, Panama Champion, Josh, Paulie Walnuts, Boxing, Fight News. What's up, Fight Malcolm X? What's up, brother? Always good to have you. Josh says Tank is not making the Hall of Fame. Come on, Sean, quit glazing. I'm not. Look, beating some good fighters, bro. Okay, let's call him a legit two-time world champion. Even though the WBA was kind of handed to him in the aftermath of, I think it was literally handed to him. He was elevated from Reggie to full champion. So I hear you. You could argue easily he's really only won one title. That IBF way back when he knocked out an undefeated Pedraza, a good win. Santa Cruz is a good win. Barrios is a good win. Isaac Cruz is a good win. Ryan Garcia is a good win. He's got some good wins. If he ever puts it together and beats a Shakur in a unification, something like that, then all those other wins kind of fall into place a lot better. But any one of them, Frank Martin, Isaac Cruz, Leo Santa Cruz, Barrios, Ryan, Rolly's a good win now. Those are a lot of solid wins. I'm keeping it real. And what he lacks is a career-defining win. And if he gets a career-defining win, all those other nice little wins kind of pile up and fall in behind one legit big win. And between all the box office, selling all the pay-per-views he's done, and grabbing a few belts, the Vinny Paz just got in the Hall of Fame. Vinny Paz only won one legitimate title in his career, the IBF lightweight title. That was it. And I'm Italian, and Vinny Paz probably shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, but he is. If Vinny Paz is a Hall of Famer, then so too is probably Gervonta Davis. And it's as much about the Hall of Fame standards coming down in the last couple decades as anything else, but that's the truth. Matt Borges says, I'll also be honest. I believe that if Abdullah Mason would have fought Baranchyk the night Keshan did, he would have done him worse. I mean, you can't do a guy a whole lot worse than knocking him out in 4 rounds and dominating him anyways. But I agree. He would have done the same thing. Abdullah is a little bit better at long range, though. Keshan is. Because Keshan, a little bit more educated jab and feints and distance control. That's that little nuance he has to him that Abdullah does not. Now, once they start shooting punches, I was there at that fight ringside at the Garden Theater. Abdullah is a more electrifying puncher than Keshan. And Keshan got electricity in his hands, too. He has speed and power, legit. But Abdullah's a little more electric, for sure. Speed and power. But Baranchyk had educated feet. And with those educated feet, he's going to be out of range a lot. Especially because against these guys, he's jittery. And Keshan knew the right time behind his jab, when to let it go. And Abdullah doesn't really cut the ring off yet. And Abdullah loves to shoot in the pocket and hasn't really shown us that great long range game behind a jab yet. Instead, he's so long that the guys can't stay away from him. He does use his jab and finds them behind it. And then he loves that left uppercut in the pocket and all that. So, yeah, I think he definitely would have knocked out Baranchyk, no problem. But maybe it would have taken a little bit longer if Baranchyk would have been on his bike to survive, because Abdullah hasn't showed us the ability to cut off the ring yet. So, I don't know. Matt Borgeson says, I haven't seen power in both hands like him since Miguel Cotto or even Duran this early in their career. Yeah, and Cotto really only had a left hand, Matt. Cotto didn't have a right hand. Cotto had a left hook because he was naturally left-handed, like De La Hoya, like Andre Ward. That's why so much of they got their work done with their left hand. Cotto and Oscar were similar in that vein. Great jab, great left hook, not really a good right hand. Although they threw it well. They threw it well and quick enough that they could mix up their punch selection to get the hook off. But as a real primary brick hand weapon, Cotto didn't really have that. And Abdullah, he has a nasty-ass right hook. You're right. He does have dynamite in both hands. But so far, his signature punch is the left uppercut. That left uppercut is that's his money shot. That's his Manny Pacquiao left hand, his signature punch. But why would he be shook if he didn't agree to a fight? Come on, Sean, you're playing. What's that in reference to, Josh? Devin's probably the only one to make the Hall of Fame. I don't know. I think 4 of them make the Hall of Fame. I'm not glazing. I'm just saying. I just got done critiquing how they're not quite living up to what they need to. So let me be fair here. That said, Shakur, 3-division champion, unified lineal super featherweight champion. Devin, undisputed lightweight champion, WBC super lightweight champion. Teofimo, unified lineal lightweight champion, WBO lineal super lightweight champion. Gervonta, knockout victories over Santa Cruz, Rolly, Barrios, Ryan. Some other good wins sprinkled in there. Won a belt or two. Big box office attraction. And I think all 4 are gonna get in. I do. And you guys know I'm keeping it real. I am not the glazer, but I gotta keep it fair at the same time and not get so disenchanted that they're all just hype jobs, American bums, and they suck. No. No, they Tio and Devin and Shakur are already pretty decorated belts wise. So, God, I'm gonna make some of you mad. If they died today, they would already maybe be in. So that's how that works. Vinny Paz got it. Vinny Paz beat Gilbert Dele for the 154 belt. Did he? High road. What's up, Caleb? Caleb said Big Sean. Kelvin Davis is next. Yeah, is that? I didn't know that. I thought he only had the IBF lightweight title. Vinny Paz. You know what? We got time to kill. We will do this. We will do this together, chat. We will do this together. We will investigate Hall of Fame credentials together. Hold on. Let me get this right. All right, we'll do this together. I thought he only won the IBF lightweight title. I know he won like one of those obscure sanctioning bodies, the IBF super middleweight title, the IBA, excuse me. But let's see here. Yeah, I knew this. So he beat Greg Haugen to become the IBF lightweight champ. He lost to the WBC. He lost to Roger for the WBC. Lost to Camacho. Oh, he did. Hey, shout out to my man Hyro. So he beat WBA junior middleweight champ Gilbert Del. Okay, so he did that. He did that. Let me push some respect on fucking Vinny Paz's fucking name, all right? I sound like an asshole a minute ago. 2-time world champion, 135 to 150. He was almost like Sugar Ray Leonard and Floyd Mayweather out there. He went from 35 to 54. Hall of Famer, forget about it. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me, chat? What's the matter? So you know what? Forget about it. Tank ain't Vinny Paz. Tank ain't go from 135 to 154. Forget about it. I apologize. I was wrong. Bebop Jones says Jedi Mind, heavenly divine, steadily shining 99. Jedi Mind, heavenly divine, steadily shining 99. All right. Shout out to Vinny Paz, the rapper from Jedi Mind. Shout out to Stoop, the enemy of mankind, and Just Allah, who was on the first couple albums. Anyway, yeah, I was wrong. Didn't he beat Roberto Duran? Come on. Roberto Duran was 137 years old, Matt Borgeson. That's like, see, we're Italians. We don't brag about bullshit, bro. All right, we don't brag about Rocky knocking out Joe Louis. Joe Louis was 137 years old, and so was Roberto Duran when Vinny Paz. We're gonna brag about William Joppy beating Roberto Duran. Give me a break. He was 100 years old. All right, we all love Vinny Paz. Me and my wife met Vinny Paz. Talked to him at the Canelo Liam Smith fight. Shout out to the Paz man, 2-time champion. I was wrong, but we're not giving him credit for Roberto Duran. Get the fuck out of here. I love you, Matt. I say that with love, but so I'm pretty sure Tank actually won another belt at 132 from Jesus Cuellar. He did, the WBA title. He won. I remember that. I was at that fight. That was on the Broner Jesse Vargas undercard, and Tank wore the Mayweather Baltimore trunks. I remember. I was there, but I don't know. Was it a? I think that was the legit WBA title, wasn't it? Or was it the regular? Who cares? Who knows? Cuellar had already got beaten up by Abner Mares, who was thought of as part. Cuellar was brought in to beat an old Abner Mares, and Mares turned the tables on him, gave it to him. So, yeah. I think Cuellar was also like a featherweight coming up or something. No, he was 30-pounder. But I did not see the unified title women's fight last night, Matt. What happened? Fill me in, brother. Maria C says Vinny Paz joked that if Ed Brophy runs the International Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota, he no, thank you, Demetrius Brown. Appreciate you, brother. No, thank you for the reminder. I do remember that the WBA. I couldn't remember though if we have to qualify it as a regular or if he won the full title. Do you remember? D Brown, let me know. I think so. Because I thought the two legit titles, he was elevated to WBA champ once Haney vacated those belts at 35. And then obviously the IBF against Pedraza. I knew he had a WBA at 30. I didn't know, though, if it was the regular or not. So, what was I going to say, though? Yeah, Maria saying that Vinny joked that the Ed Brophy, it wouldn't... Maria, I got to be honest. So I went to the Hall of Fame one time, and I picked the right year to go, 2022. Floyd gets in, Bernard gets in, Andre gets in, Cotto gets in, Marquez gets in, Klitschko gets in. It was quite the event. And man, some BS happened to me at the airport coming back. Maybe one day I'll share that story too, but not today. And I it ruined the weekend for me. But despite that, it was still awesome to be there. And I got a mafia vibe from up there. And there's a funny reason why. Upstate New York, we're in there, and I got my guinea nostrils being Italian from New York. Sometimes I walk into a place on the East Coast and I'm like, I smell guineas. I smell us here. I sense guinea behavior, and I already had that hunch to me, like, I wonder, we're in upstate New York. I wonder if this is like a mobbed up area. Rocky Graziano had his restaurant there back up in the day. And so we get done covering the first or second night of the Hall of Fame, and we go into a diner. And diners at casinos typically have horrible Italian food. Good breakfast, good steak, not the spot to get Italian food. But something in me said, order Italian food. And we're in the diner. And I order, they got chicken Reggie's, which is a spicy rigatoni sauce that most restaurants don't. It's real Goomba stuff, where it's Sicilian style, and they cake in the meat in the rigatoni sauce, and it's spicy, right? And it's spicy Italian food is Sicilian style. And I'm eating the rigatoni, and it's some of the best rigatoni I ever had in my life. And I'm halfway through just killing it. And I look at my partner who I was covering the weekend with, and I put my fork down. I go, this rigatoni's too fucking good, bro. I knew it. This is some mafia. This is a mobbed up casino, dude. This rigatoni is some of the best rigatoni I've ever had in my life. It's too good. We're in some random diner. It should not be this good. And then my partner at the time started dying. He started cracking up. And I was like, I knew it. I knew this was mobbed up. This rigatoni is too good, too saucy. So anyway, that's my story. Because Maria mentioned Vinny Paz, giving Ed Brophy a hard time. Hey, you might find yourself in the back of a trunk if you don't put me in the Hall of Fame, And I kind of got that vibe up there. And which is funny because boxing, decades ago was ran by the mob. And then Don King learned from the mob, was a numbers guy on the East Coast in Ohio. Aram from Brooklyn, he gets the backing of Robert Kennedy and the U.S. Congress and everything, and he winds up getting into boxing. But before they took it over, King and Aram, it was the mafia. And so it would make sense if there's a little bit of that energy floating around Canastota to this day in upstate New York. That would be my take on it. Yeah, man, Bebop Jones, Maria, SP, it was a little too good. It was the pasta was a little too good, and I was up. My antennas were already up, so that confirmed it to me. I confirm off speculation. I don't need facts. So, Sean, over under for Mason 3.5. I feel like Nakathila is gonna. Yeah, styles make fights, and I think over. I think over. Styles make fights. Nakathila, I think, is going to be very cautious. And, man, speaking of Nakathila, whatever Raymond Murataya, whatever song he listened to the day he fought Jeremiah, or whatever shirt he wore before that fight, or whatever food he ate after the weigh-in for the fight with Jeremiah Nakathila, do it again, Raymond Murataya, because what Raymond Murataya did against Nakathila was destructive and impressive. Shakur had one of his worst performances against Nakathila, going all 12, and Murataya detonated him in 3 rounds. I remember watching that fight. I think it was on the Haney-Lomachenko undercard and being like, wow, that's what I'm talking about. That's the Raymond Murataya we need to see more of. The other Raymond Murataya, the cautious Raymond Murataya, has been good enough to become a world champion, IBF lightweight champion. But I want to see what that Raymond Murataya can do. And I know opponents have a lot to do with the way you're going to perform. these top lightweights, they're not Jeremiah Nakathila, a former super featherweight moving up. But Muratai's temperament that night, for whatever reason, maybe he had the rigatoni spicy sauce, but he had a sense of urgency in the Nakathila fight that was beautiful, and I need to see that Raymond Murataya more often. Again, the more timid version has still been good enough to become a world champion, to his credit. But that guy, that night that fought Nakathila, that guy is a real threat to Shakur and Tank and all of them. Even the guy that fights timid is an interesting fight for them. But the guy that fought Nakathila I need to see that guy again. You guys agree with me on that one? So Matt, what's up, Matt? Says, I met Sean at May 1st. Too bad you weren't in New York City, or we could have hit the bars. Yeah, I gotta catch you at one of these fights, Matt. You've been super supportive of me and Sean, and we're super grateful, man. So okay, let me see. So Franchon Cruz has earned one decision that she lost 8 out of 10 rounds. Oh, so Franchon got a gift. I gotta be honest. My first reaction to that is good for Franchon, because no one should ever get a gift. No one should ever get robbed. So it's wrong. It's wrong. But my first honest reaction was Franchon has had nothing given to her in boxing. That's the case for a lot of men and women in boxing, not just the ladies. But never really given anything. Had to fight Clarissa Shields in her professional debut. Was a huge underdog to Savannah Marshall. Was a big underdog to Shadasia Green. And yet she's found a way to be champion multiple times, undisputed. So what I'm saying is nothing's been handed to her. And so maybe a little karma in her balance gave her a gift. But that's bullshit. Nobody should get a gift, no matter how much, I can spin it and for Franchon. So yeah, it's not good. Nona's, my wife said, I saw Nona's. It was cute, based off a real story. Yeah, what was that? Was a movie I could vaguely remember from HBO. Sammy. You know what joke Samantha makes when I get the ESPN ticker? The dun-dun-dun. She goes, forget your wife, forget your kids. And I utter it every time. I just did it now on the stream. I thought it was super funny. Forget your wife, forget your kids. What happened? So, boxing. I forgot your super chat. Where are you at, boxing? I didn't realize you left one. Matt. And Matt said, can we also talk about the ridiculous robbery of Franchon Cruz DAZN last night? I didn't see the fight, Matt. So she got a gift, and there's no excusing that. Teofimo, Bat Borgeson with the super chat said, Teofimo Lopez is one great win away from being a great in my eyes. A Boots win would put him amongst that small company. Yeah, I don't think he beats Boots. Good big man beats a good smaller man. Well, I think a good, really talented, athletic big man who sometimes has his flaws is better than a smaller, really talented, really flashy man that has his flaws too. I think Boots would beat Teo. But if Teo beat Boots, he's first ballot Hall of Famer. That would make him the legit lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight champ. He'd be entrenched with his Hall of Fame credentials. But the problem is, I don't think he would beat Boots Ennis. Boxing, thank you, my man. Sean, do the Berlanga impression. I didn't know I had a Berlanga. It's like, yo, when I fought Canelo, that shit was crazy. All of Puerto Rico was on my back. I got a whole country behind me, like Floyd used to say. So, hey, Caleb Plant, you ain't a fucking boss, motherfucker. I'm the A side. I make 30 M's and you make 100,000. So yeah, you ain't a fucking boss. That's Edgar Berlanga. But thank you. I know Canelo felt my power. I was telling him to suck one during the fight. Yeah. I was talking shit to Canelo. I was telling him dead ass, yo, you hit like a bitch. I knew he knew that too, because late in the fight, I could tell, if it was 15 rounds, because I'm a 15-round fighter. If it was 15 rounds, I think I would have stopped Canelo. Yeah, dead ass. So that's the Edgar Berlanga I got for you. I hope that was worth the super chat. But Kelvin Davis in against Nahir Albright, and Nahir Albright gave Keshan a tough fight. That was a fight where both guys wanted to counterpunch a lot, and you had two counterpunchers waiting to counter a lot. Kelvin Davis, obviously a lot bigger, should be able to get off first with his length a little bit more. But hold on, we got a super chat again. Do the Caleb Plant impression. Step on him. Step on his ass. Get his ass whooped. Well, last time I checked, Sean Zittel never boxed professionally before, never did nothing, and would probably never do this impersonation to my face because he knows what would happen, which is get his ass whooped. So last time I checked, he could do his stupid little impersonation with 100 people watching. I fight in front of 100,000 people. So do with that what you will. Only because you guys asked. You guys are going to get my ass whooped one day asking for these impressions. But anyway. And then what will you do? Then you will go on ES News, Fight Hub, and Fight Hype and watch reporter gets knocked out. And you will laugh. You will all have blood on your hands. So, super chat again. If you were a boxer, what weight class would you fight? I would either be 154 or 160 because I walk around at 172, 166 when I feel fat and eat a lot of salmon and steak. So I'd be a 160 pounder, 154, and I'm 6 feet, 6'1". And that's the weight I'd get slept at. 150. I'd have my choice between getting my ass whooped by Sebastian Fundora, which sounds miserable. I'd rather get my ass whooped at 160. I'd rather get that Janabek ass whooping for sure than that Sebastian Fundora ass whooping. 100%. Yes, I would be a middleweight because I would not want to fight Sebastian Fundora. That does not sound fun at all. So yes. I can get to, Matt Borges says I can get to 22, 26. I got all the way down to 130 as a 5'11", 16-year-old. I was skinny. Ask my wife. She's in the chat. She'll tell you how my waist was this big when I was boxing when she first met me. So, all right, chat. Enough with the impressions. We got to call some Kelvin Davis, Nasir Albright. The towering weight bully, says Wait Bebop Jones. He makes 154 comfortably, though. This dude does interviews after his weigh-in. Fighters shouldn't do interviews after weigh-ins because they got to go eat and hydrate and get off their feet. Fundora weighs in and does interviews. The dude actually comfortably makes 154. And I had a little clip on Porter Way that some people... I don't know if I believe in weight bullies. I think the rules are fucked up. I agree with Steve Kim that we should go back to the same day of weigh-ins. But as it stands now, it's not against the rules to cut a bunch of weight and rehydrate 25 pounds. It's not against the rules. And you are gambling. It's your risk to make because you are just as likely to cut too much weight and affect your punch resistance, your conditioning, and your power, weakening yourself, as you are to have an advantage. And the fighters don't make the rules. It's a stupid rule. It's getting stupider. They go from weighing in 2 in the afternoon to 8 in the morning. They should weigh in the same day they fight. But since that's not the rules, I don't know if I can put it on a fighter and call him a weight bully. He's following the rules. There is no rule against rehydrating 20, 25 pounds. And again, it's just as likely that it's going to screw you over as it is it's going to benefit you. So I don't know. That's how I look at it. What's my reach? I don't have super long arms for my height. They're pretty average. I never got my reach measured, but I would routinely have shorter arms than dudes that had that Abdullah Mason effect. They had these long arms even though they were shorter than me. So yeah. I'm gonna keep it real. That's usually a brother thing. Usually the brothers have really abnormally long arms. So yeah. But here we go, round 2. Kelvin Davis, southpaw stance, center of the ring. And Nasir Albright, good counterpuncher with his right hand, as I recall from his fight with Keshan. And Kelvin, though, being disciplined with his range in the center of the ring. Albright is a good counterpuncher. He's going to want Kelvin to get a little overzealous, give up his distance, and give him something to sharpshoot. So Kelvin, right now, trying to draw that invisible line in the center of the ring that if you go past this line, I'm going to get something off. Good straight left hand to the body by Kelvin Davis off the jab up top. And that's always a disciplined move by fighters trying to figure things out, is touch a shot to the body. Take what's there. The guy's defensively alert up top, and all you can really shoot is your jab. Then shoot the jab, boom, straight left to the body. Take what's there. That's what Rolly was doing to Ryan. That's what Roy Jones did in the first Tarver fight. So, if you don't want to expose yourself by reaching for something up top, letting the right hand go left, good right hand by Albright, Kelvin Davis is hurt. And that's the punch Albright was looking for. Found that right hand, down goes Kelvin Davis, but it's not a knockdown. He was thrown a little bit to the canvas, but Davis, who was knocked down in his professional debut in Texas, I remember that, is now hurt off a right hand. Legs still not underneath him. Albright gets him to the corner. Kelvin Davis tying up. He's only got 30 seconds. He's got to get out of this round. Kelvin backing straight up into the ropes. Albright following up. Albright invests into the body a little bit. Left hook in close. Right hand in close for Albright. Another left hook in close. Kelvin Davis, long, gangly on the inside, getting caught and roughed up on the inside here. 5 seconds left. He'll make it out of the round. But Albright, the shorter orthodox fighter, found that right time to let that right hand go against the southpaw. That's the southpaw killer. Matt Borgeson says, you wear clothes that look like wizard's robes. They're too big for you, bro. I know. I'm from New York. We wear big hit. You know what? Speaking of the wardrobe, because this is... You guys come for the round by round, but check this out, chat. I had to flex. Check this out. This was an early Father's Day gift that's authentic. It's not Swingman. This is the real deal. The real McCoy. We had to get Larry Johnson. We had to. Teal. Had to do it. Larry played for the Knicks. Larry went to UNLV like your boy. But we had to get the Hornets jersey because it's just fire. It's just a fire jersey. Okay? Period. Tay said BX in the building. Shout out to the Bronx. My son, we went to the Karate Kid Legends movie yesterday. Shitty movie with good action, but we love Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. Anyway, my son was the final scene in the movie is the fight for the 5 boroughs championship. So I had to teach my son about the 5 boroughs yesterday. So shout out to the Bronx. But all right, another right hand lands for Albright. Kelvin Davis is in danger in this fight. Albright catching the straight left hands by Kelvin. Kelvin opening up, showing some dog, trying to get his lick back from round 2. But he has to be careful here. Albright can sneak him in between shots. But Davis showing some dog, holding his own in the center of the ring. Looks like he wants to get some get back. Backs out of the way of a straight right hand by Albright. Albright shooting his jab in the center of the ring. Davis has picked his hands up. Straight left hand by Davis, another straight left hand. Not sitting down on that straight left hand. 1-2 by Albright. Lands on the chest, but dangerously close to finding the mark. Albright looking like the more dangerous puncher right now in round 3. Straight right hand by Albright. Davis gets underneath it and clinches him, but Albright puts his body weight on top of him in that clinch. Albright, the shorter guy with shorter arms, but seems to have a better sense of his range than Davis. Davis trying to give him half of that body, half of that look. Keshan Davis ringside with the Davis family. They're tense. They know that Calvin's in a tough fight after getting hurt by that right hand in round 2. Halfway through the 3rd. Kelvin shooting the jab, steps out. Albright ties him up in the center of the ring. Roughhouses him with the right hand inside. Referee breaking them apart. Back in the center of the ring. Kelvin picks his hands up. Takes little half steps to his right. Shoots his jab. Albright blocking it. Straight right hand by Albright. Nicking the chin of Kelvin Davis again. But Davis showing, good composure in terms of, dog. But not yet showing the right composure IQ-wise. But showing the right composure temperament-wise. Not shook at all. Good right hand by Albright and a check right hook by Davis. They land at the same time, but Davis is not really seeing that right hand coming. He's not getting his head off the line. And not taking a half step to make Albright fall short either, or finding an angle to angle off of. Good body shots by Davis. Albright catching the right hook, but Davis finishing up with 2 punches to the body. Jab by Davis falls short. Drops his lead hand again. Albright just looking for that straight right hand. Smothers his own work. Ties up Davis again. Albright just wants to win this fight with that right hand. Albright just looking for that straight right hand. Davis timing him with the right hook. And that sequence happened a few times down the stretch of round 3. Davis trying to walk him into a right hook. That might be a dangerous game for Kelvin Davis, willingly giving up his range, saying, I know you're the shorter guy who needs to take a step forward to shoot that straight right hand. I'm going to let you take that step forward and try to check you with the hook coming in. That's a dicey proposition for Kelvin Davis. If he mistimes the hook, misjudges it, he's allowing him to shoot that straight right hand off. So we'll see. And relying on the counter punches, the defense, rather than getting his head off the line or making him fall short. We'll keep an eye on that as that goes forward. What's up, Titus? My brother Titus, good to see you, my man. Said it's a damn shame how Keshan lost the belt due to weight in front of Michael Vick, in front of Terrence Crawford, in front of his hometown fans, and eats popcorn in the stands like it's all good. At some point, my job is to put together a cohesive big picture of why Gervonta's taking a knee and expecting it to not be a knockdown. Why Devin Haney was chasing belts and then went left for Ryan Garcia and has had a left turn since then. Why Shakur is petulant after disappointing performances. Why Keshan blows weight and then is eating popcorn. At some point, it's not about singling or picking on any of one of these young guys and realizing they're all part and parcel of a bigger picture that's going on in America that many of you talk about and are aware of. But it's my job to find a way to distill it all and not just shit on them and all that. So we're trying to diagnose that throughout the night. I think a lot of us already know what it is. It goes without saying. It's common sense. But yeah. But it's it's a part of this generation, a part of our larger American culture, regardless of race and all that. It's just it's a deeper societal thing, obviously, because you see it in the NBA, you see it in the NFL, you see it with our young American fighters, and outside of sports, you see this kind of temperament. But anyway, 2 minutes left in the fourth, and Kelvin Davis taking little half steps back. Albright not really getting off first a whole lot. His whole game is the right hand. He's trying to just use that IQ and be crafty against Kelvin Davis. Get him to give up his height, give up his reach, and time him in the right spots in the ring and the right moments in the ring with the right hand. But if he can't produce another big moment or big moments with that right hand, he's in danger of letting the fight get away from him because Davis is being busy. Good straight left hand to the body by Kelvin Davis. Albright might have to, feint and probe a little bit more with that lead hand to get the backhand off. He's just throwing the right hand one at a time right now. Right hand to the body, and Davis is beginning to pick up on it and adjust to it a little bit, get a sense of when he wants to throw it. Minute left in the fourth round, and that's Albright being too predictable. Davis steps out of range. Albright tries to sweep the right hand and hit him where he's exiting out to, but Davis ties him up. This has been a better round for Davis. He's responded well since getting hurt in the second round, if nothing else, with just fighting, with a little more conviction than Albright. But not accurate yet. Davis good right hand by Albright. Davis shooting the right hook and the straight left hand, not with great technique, and he gets sniped by a straight right hand in return by Albright, forces Davis to tie up. Now Albright follows up his advantage with a couple of body shots, backs Davis into the ropes. Davis shooting 1-2s, but his technique is not the best. Big straight right hand by Albright, lands again. Davis is buckled and holding on. He crowds Albright into the corner, but Davis's technique is just not the best. When he punches, his chin's exposed. He sometimes punches from his chest, and they're not sharpshooting shots right down the pipe. They're trailing off to the right and to the left a little bit. The chin's exposed, and they're in between shots. And it's not a sharp piston-like jab. setting it up with that length. And Albright is just the craftier fighter with better timing, knowing the right moments to nail him and make him pay for his mistakes with his right hand. Albright could be on his way to winning this fight. He should be. He's hurting him multiple times with the right hand, and I don't see any adjustments from Kelvin Davis. He adjusted a little bit by trying to buckle down in the center of the ring, be first, show some dog for sure, but his head's not getting off the line. He's not fighting the angle, and one of the adjustments he's made, I don't know if it's a smart one. Go ahead, I'll let you throw the right hand. I'm going to try and walk you into this hook, this check right hook. I don't know if that's the right adjustment. Thank you for the super chat again, my man Matt. Matt's balling. Matt could just, he's throwing them fives at me like I'm a stripper on the pole. Matt says Keshan probably couldn't handle one of his brothers losing on his undercard during his main event, honestly. No, you remind me of the Charlo brothers. You know, how distraught they would get if one of them had a misstep on the card. But here we go. Yeah, there it is. Kelvin trying to load up on a check right hook, leaving his chin exposed, front foot off balance. Boom, he eats a right hand trying to pull out after that. Bad technique by Kelvin Davis. Kelvin in the center of the ring. Again, showing dog. But right now, ESPN has it 3-1 for Albright, who is by far the more accurate puncher right now. Albright coming forward now, gaining a little bit of confidence after he knows he can hurt Davis with his right hand. He's done it repeatedly. Maybe see a little bit more aggression from Albright instead of just trying to snipe with the right hand. Albright in the high guard, stepping to Kelvin Davis now. And I don't know if Davis really has the punching power when his balance isn't really underneath him. His legs aren't really underneath him when he punches. I don't. If he had the right kind of leverage with his tall, wiry frame, probably could generate the kind of power to get Albright's respect. But right now he's on the back foot, feet not planted. And I don't know how much power he's capable of generating right now. Halfway through the fifth, Albright is stepping to Davis, backing him up, jabs to the body. Davis circling him to his right. The southpaw moving to his strong side to his right. Davis trying to just slow the things down behind his movement. Sweeping left hand gets blocked. Albright working the free right hand to the body in the clinch after Davis ties up. Little over a minute left in the fifth. Albright with the momentum right now. Davis backed up on the ropes, clinches Albright to buy himself some time. Albright punching with the free right hand. Davis nicks him with his left hand with Albright talking to his corner. Little bit of roughhousing, gamesmanship there. Davis bounces up and down now. Left hand at his chest, right hand at his hip. Backs up on the ropes. Albright gets in, smothers his work, and roughhouses a little bit. 40 seconds left in the fifth. Albright with an advantage in this round. Not a dominant round, but he's winning the round on the front foot. Davis is back near the ropes. Albright picking the gloves up, finds him with the lead hand. Tries to hook off of it. Dips underneath a 1-2 by Davis. Keeps his high guard up. Walks to Davis. Davis is back, touches the ropes. He moves out to his left. Big right hand, straight right hand lands for Albright. Not a big right hand, but a straight right hand. Lifts the head up of Davis as he backs straight up into the ropes. 10 seconds left. This is an Albright round. Davis is going to have to find a way to get his straight left hand in. That right hook, it doesn't have the right form on it to change the fight around. He's going to have to find a way to drive Albright off of him by sitting down on a straight left hand. But Albright's ahead. What's up, Christopher? Bebop. Midwesterner. How you doing, brother? Another super chat by my man Matt Borgeson said, Demetrius Brown said, "Hey, yo, what?" Yeah, I know. I had to say it. Matt says, when I saw Kelvin was fighting Albright, I thought that was nuts for the team to put him into a fight like this that early. You're right, Matt, because Kelvin isn't looked upon on the same level as Keshan. And Keshan had a very, very tense nip-and-tuck fight with Albright where he didn't have his best, strongest showing. So you're right. It's a little bit questionable to put Kelvin in, who's not as further along as Keshan, will probably never be as further along as Keshan, and you put him in with Albright. But it makes sense if Top Rank's trying to rid themselves of him. What Top Rank will do to keep a star fighter happy is sign fighters they otherwise wouldn't sign. like Steven So Cold Nelson with when he was with Top Rank. I know for a fact they did that to keep Terrence Crawford happy, as an act of good faith with Crawford. So same thing here with Kelvin Davis. I think Keon Davis would get a deal even if he wasn't Keshan Davis's brother. But Kelvin Davis, it's more of that's what's going on here. And what Top Rank would maybe try to do in that scenario, when Top Rank wants to cut bait, they put you in tough to see if you're worth going forward with and committing more resources to. And that's what Kelvin Davis is in right now. He's in a real fight. And I give him credit. He's showing dog, but he hasn't found the right wrinkles and adjustments yet to turn this fight around. You see his brother Keshan, very tense and stressed at ringside because he knows his brother's in tough right now with Albright. Albright leading with a left uppercut, falls short and misses. Minute into the 6th, Davis tripling up his jab. Can't find the mark with it, but he'll have to be busier with that shot. Got to find the straight left hand in here somewhere. Davis using his jab, moving over his right, straight right. It's dangerous the way his chin is exposed when Albright fires the right hand with the right timing. Nakathila looks good in the dressing room, by the way. They're showing Nakathila in the dressing room. Nakathila looks ready to fight, and that's what we want to see. Albright, straight right hand, comes forward with the high guard, and he corners Kelvin Davis and lifts his head up with a straight right hand. Davis just can't get his positioning, his timing, his distance down. Minute 15 in the 6th. Albright coming forward with the high guard. Straight right hand by Albright. Davis has to tie up along the ropes. Albright working the body in the clinch while he's tied up. Davis still trying to be confident. Minute left in the 6th. Flicks his jab out. Flicks it again. Falling short. Lead left hook falls short for Albright. Davis circles to his right. Bounces up and down. Double jab by Davis. Straight left hand. Straight left hand to the body. Not a lot of that working or getting through. Straight right hand misses for Albright. Davis ties him up. 40 seconds in the round. Let's see if Davis can find some adjustments here. Right hook, and Albright gets underneath it. Albright goes to the body with Davis along the ropes. That long, slender abdomen. Straight right hand for Albright with Davis along the ropes. Davis not accurate, firing back in return. Davis still along the ropes, ties up Albright. 20 seconds left in the round. Hard lead lands for Albright. Kind of threw a power jab. Sat down on the jab like a power shot. Right hook lands to the body for Davis. Straight left hand. Davis pulling back with his chin exposed. And that's it for the 6th. Another round for Nasir Albright. Davis just can't get the distance down right. And it's precarious when he lets his punches go, because he'll back straight out with the chin exposed. Just a lot of holes there in between his shots. Albright looks like he's on his way to winning this fight right now. Let's see what's up. Who's winning? Albright is winning, not your average. Bebop Jones says sloppy Joes. Yeah, some sloppy action. Kelvin Davis, very sloppy technique-wise. But is you look him in his eyes, there's no folding. It's not for a lack of heart. It's technique and IQ right now. Albright is the craftier, more compact fighter. His punches come out more compact. His chin is more tucked, and he has a better sense of timing and distance. So he's the craftier veteran right now against the undefeated Kelvin Davis. Keith Edward Anoki says, shout out from the Philippines. Shout out to the Philippines, man. And actually, speaking of Manny Pacquiao, I'm starting to think he might beat Barrios. We'll talk about that later. But here we go. The Davis brothers, very tense ringside. They know that their brother Kelvin needs a momentum shift here. He needs something to change in this fight, or else he's on his way to losing this fight. Kelvin in the center of the ring, straight left hand, falling short, and hasn't really sat down on a hard straight left hand in a while. Can't get his distance down behind it. Touching, flicking his jab out there. Stepping to his right. Albright, though, getting close to fire that right hand. There it is. Right hand by Albright. Little sneak jab to disguise it, and the right hand lands on the chin of Davis. Davis taking it well. Not getting buckled like he was rounds ago. Straight right hand off the mark for Albright. Davis ties up. Albright tries to roughhouse him on the inside. Davis drives him to the corner, puts his forearm in his face a little bit, and the referee's going to warn him for that. Minute 50 in the round. 1-2 by Davis. No steam on that shot. Good jab by Albright. Sprung up into it with his legs underneath him. Albright touching with the jab again. Bending his knees. Getting low. Drops his lead hand. Picks his lead hand back up. Drives Davis to the ropes. Fires a right hand. Davis is forced to clinch along the ropes. Albright working him and giving him the business in the clinch. Working his free hand with no silent agreements. Halfway through the round. 1-2s by Davis, but nothing on him. 3 straight 1-2s by Davis, and he eats a straight right hand in return by Albright. And again, that's distance control, knowing when to fire at what range. Davis leaning on top of Albright in the clinch, but this is another Albright round. He's the accurate fighter. Davis is not. 1-2, 1-2 by Davis. Poor form on these 1-2s by Davis. There's not a lot of snap and legs underneath him. Albright is cut. That has to be, you would think, from a headbutt. But the referee is warning Kelvin Davis for some of his unorthodox maneuvers. 50 seconds left. Straight right hand by Albright. And that's the southpaw killer. He's been able to land it all night. Left uppercut on the inside by Albright as Kelvin just holds on. Oh, left uppercut by Kelvin Davis. That was a good shot. Albright ate it and is still coming forward. But that was a good left uppercut. Straight left hand. 1-2 by Kelvin Davis. There's the straight left hand. Davis planting his feet and firing some hard 1-2s. Those are his best punches of the night. That left uppercut gave him some life. Now he's fencing with the lead hand. Albright falls and misses with the straight right hand. So some signs of life from Kelvin Davis there. And in a fight in his hometown, that spurt might have been enough to swing him around. He didn't really win, but it was a flashy moment for him. And he's fighting in his hometown. Straight right hand counter by Albright as Davis reached with those 1-2s. But there was some light. Oh, straight right hand lands again for Albright at the bell off a 1-2. That was an Albright round. But you know, with it being in his hometown, he might have done enough to steal a round. Oh, you glazing now with the Philippines? I don't know, man. I thought at first Pacquiao, it's going to be like Leonard and Camacho, but I think Barrios is showing him too much respect. And maybe this moment's too big for him. And he's just showing Pacquiao a ton of respect. You know what Ugas didn't do? Show him too much respect. You know what Marquez didn't do? Show him too much respect. You know what Floyd Mayweather didn't do? Show him too much respect. You know what Tim Bradley did? Not show him too much respect. What do those guys all have in common? They beat him. What are the guys that did show him too much respect? Shane Mosley and a number of guys that showed him. Chris Algieri, and they got their ass beat. So I'm worried about that. Right now, the mother of the Davis brothers looking on with concern. Terrence Crawford tense at ringside. They know that there's only 3 rounds left, and Kelvin's going to have to finish strong to avoid, you know, a nightmare scenario for the Davis brothers where Keshan's fight's canceled and Kelvin loses his O. Keon Davis looked really good and got a knockout, but here we go. And Davis might have won that last round. He's backing straight up, eats a straight right hand, backing straight up a little bit, moves out to his right now. Albright coming forward, shoots his jab, shoots his right hand. Both miss. Davis ties him up, turns him back into the center. Kelvin moving to his right, feints. There's a feint from Kelvin Davis. Feints again. Straight left hand off the mark, lands on the chest of Albright. Davis circling out to his right. Albright with a 2-1, not able to find him. Nice jab by Kelvin Davis. Kelvin with his movement to his right now, slowing the pace down. Jab to the body by Albright. 2 minutes left in the round. Not a lot of action in that first minute. Albright in the high guard. Lands a little short right hand. Used the left hook to set up that straight right hand, and it nicked Kelvin Davis a little bit there. Straight right hand to the body by Albright. Davis ties him up and eats a short left hook in the clinch by Albright. Albright walking Kelvin Davis down ever since around the 5th round. He started walking Davis down. Picked his gloves up and came forward. He was playing the counterpuncher early, but once he saw his right hand could hurt Davis and that he could land it he became more aggressive. Good defense on the front foot by Albright. Good jab. Got underneath a two-punch combination by Davis and keeps his forward momentum going. Now he bursts in with a 5-6 punch combo, sloppy by Albright, but some of that getting in. Nice jab by Albright, straight right hand, touching with Albright, 2 left hooks. Back comes Davis and touches him. Back comes Albright with a 1-2. Albright with a minute left in the 8th, winning this round. Albright steps in close. Davis ties him up. Neither fighter getting off that time in the pocket. Albright trying to sweep a right hand in the clinch and turns out to his left. 45 seconds left. This is an Albright round. Davis hardly letting his hands go this round. Davis pivots out to his right in the center of the ring. Overshoots a straight left hand. Albright ties him up, gets underneath him. 30 seconds left in the round. Straight right hand lands for Albright. Lead right hand. Davis nicking him with a left uppercut in the clinch, but nothing really on that. Punch to the close to the back of the head by Davis in the clinch. And Keshan beginning to get a look of resignation at ringside, that he's beginning to accept that his brother will probably lose this fight. Still, of course, holding out hope, but, Keshan knows what he's looking at. That's another Albright round, and the adjustments and the time are not coming. To running out of time and no adjustments being made, that's an Albright round. Looks like, barring a robbery, Albright's going to win this fight. Ephraim Henderson, thank you, brother, said, you need to call fights at ringside. They need to call you and pay you. Amazing. I agree, but I'm biased. But I agree. I agree with your sentiment. Couldn't agree more. I cannot display the screen, Max. What's up, Maria the Foodie? We have Maria C. We have 2 Marias in the chat. That's what's up. What's up, it's Jay? What's up, J.O. Tisa? Real Rock G says Davis is done. Jay says, I'm glad you canceled your trip, Sean. Yeah, I just had to, man. I wasn't going to get back home till like Monday morning because it's Norfolk. There's not a lot of flights coming in and out from Vegas. Someone asked, where's Bomac? Bomac is in the corner. Bomac is one of the best trainers in boxing. They haven't had a great year so far, if you think about it. Keshan against Berenchik was brilliant, but the Steve Nelson Pacheco fight, they lost. No shame in that. Pacheco was a favorite and much younger, but they lost that fight, and they felt they could win that fight, of course. And then Keshan blows weight. They're not riding a huge momentum into this Canelo fight later in the year. But anyway, Davis landed a big left hook early in this round. He's still coming forward. Straight right hand, Albright landed a big left hook early in this round. Albright is imposing himself to start the 9th. He's aggressive. Hands are up. Straight right hand doesn't quite land, but Davis is just catching that shot at times and then clinching. He's not countering off of it. He's not making him miss clean. He's not making him pay. There's a sharp jab by Kelvin Davis out of the clinch. Another jab by Davis. Can't land his straight left hand. 1-2 by Albright. Davis ties him up again. 2 minutes left in the round. Albright already connected with a few shots this round. Double jab, straight left hand by Kelvin. Not accurate. There's a check right hook by Kelvin Davis. Backed out of range and walked Albright into a right hook as Albright tried to reach with a 1-2. Albright lowers his lead hand now to his hip. Catches a lead left hand by Davis. Shakes his head no, as if to say, I caught that on the glove. Halfway through the 9th round, Albright got to keep his foot on the pedal, fighting in another man's hometown. 1-2 by Davis. Albright gets underneath it. Halfway through the round now. Minute 28 left. Davis tying up on the inside again. Esau Diegas asking for more from Davis. Straight left hand, and Albright gets underneath it. Nice little straight right hand by Albright. Little left hook to the body. Davis ties up in the center of the ring. They skirmish in the center of the ring. Another skirmish as both fighters are in the clinch. Not much landed there. Minute left in the round. It's an Albright round. He's landed the more accurate shots again. And he's been the aggressor. Davis clinching excessively on the inside. Doesn't want to punch on the inside with those long arms. And again, Davis clinching Albright. Albright falling in with lead right hands, and then Davis clinching him in the center of the ring. Albright just off with a counter right hand as Davis tried to reach with a straight left hand. Albright made a miss. Just missed the straight right hand counter. 30 seconds left in the round. Albright switches southpaw for a second in the middle of the exchange. Lands a little right hook to the body. A lot of clinching by Kelvin Davis. Albright gets inside again, rips a right hand to the body. Davis clinches again. Tons of clinching in the 9th round by Kelvin Davis due to a lack of an inside game. 5 seconds left in the round, and that's another Albright round where he was on the front foot. Good 1-2, but too little too late by Kelvin Davis with that 1-2. 1 round left. It looks like Albright's going to win this fight. See, I needed the Coca-Cola tonight. I was a little tired, a little flat. I try to stay away from that liquid poison, that soda. But, Thank you, Christopher. Christopher says, I watch the fight, mute the TV, and listen to you, fam. Well, thank you, brother. But they do got the great Tim Bradley on the call. So I'm not even lying. I'd rather listen to Tim Bradley than me. And when we did the round by rounds for the Times Square card, I felt awfully useless knowing that people could just be listening to Jim Lampley. But we got 280 people in here. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Is there some reason why ESPN Plus doesn't show the corners in between rounds? Why does it say commercial break? Bills to pay. That Top Rank deal is done next month. ESPN is saying, fuck this bullshit. We need to get these commercials. We need our ad revenue. So the fight's looking like Keshan versus Albright, says Panama. Lots of clinching. There was a lot of clinching. Obviously, Keshan was much more effective than Kelvin was, but I think that was the fight that got a no contest, right? And Keshan dropped him on the counter right hand pull. I was at that fight. It was in Oklahoma, right? On the undercard of Kambosos Hughes. Or am I thinking of when Keshan fought someone else? Lead stiff jab knocks up Kelvin Davis's head against the ropes. Kelvin is letting his hands go with his back against the ropes to start this round. That's very dangerous. That's how J. Leon Love got knocked out by Porky Medina. Gotta be careful doing that. All right, 30 seconds into the 10th. Davis pumping his jab. No doubt wants to fire something here. Straight left hand to the body by Davis. Albright makes him, make an awkward movement trying to pull out after reaching with that straight left hand to the body. A lot of awkward movements by Kelvin Davis here. Not a guy who's perfectly figured out his frame, like an adept tall fighter like his younger brother Keon. Doesn't know how to keep that long, gangly frame in balance and gain leverage from it. Albright applying pressure. Neither guy landing anything clean to start. A little bit more clinching. Both guys off the mark. Albright taking little side steps to his left and to his right, shuffling his feet, trying to cut off exit routes. But Davis in the center of the ring flicks his jab halfway through the 10th. Not a lot to choose from so far this round. Straight left hand misses for Davis. Albright gets underneath and goes in the clinch. So, minute 20 left in the round. Kelvin circling to his right. Albright falls short with a combination as Davis gives out that angle to his right. 1-2 misses for Davis. Albright steps in. Cut above his right eye. That had to be from a headbutt. Minute left in the round. Not much to choose. Albright the aggressor. They trade. Both guys off the mark. Albright short with a left hook. Davis gets his jab off the mark. Davis ties up as Albright cuts the distance near the ropes. Davis turns him. Referee separates them. 45 seconds left. Will either fighter give us something to choose from in this round? More clinching. Oh, little sweeping right hand out of the clinch for Albright. 35 seconds left. Albright's the aggressor, getting off first, trying to make the fight. It's his round. Not a lot of clean, effective punching by either guy. 1-2 blocked by Davis. Albright shoe shines to the body in the clinch. 20 seconds left. Davis clinching down the stretch more than punching. 15 seconds left. Flicks out his double jab. Albright follows him out the back door with a left hook. Albright flurrying to the body, just letting the judges know I wanted this more. This is my fight. He turns Keon Davis in the clinch after doing a bolo movement. It hits him with a left hook. And they call the fight 10 seconds too early. I think they thought the bell was the final bell. It was the 10-second bell. Anyway, a dull fight, but a fight that Nasir Albright clearly won. hurting Davis in the first half of the fight multiple times with his right hand. And then after that, picking his gloves up, being the aggressor, taking the fight to Kelvin Davis, and winning the fight, clearly. Nasir Albright wins this fight. Let's see if he gets robbed in Norfolk. And he did a little Adrian Broner, a little 360 turn with the bolo out of the clinch and then punching with the other hand. Yeah. So Crypto Income Opportunity says, I'm watching from Namibia, bro. You're doing a great job here. What time is Nakathila playing, pal? He's up next, Crypto, and thank you for joining all the way from Namibia. Shout out to the great continent of Africa. Shout out to Ghana's finest, Azuma Nelson, Ike Bazooka. Shout out to Nigeria. Shout out to Ike Abeabuchi, even though he shouldn't have raped that girl. Why'd you do that, Ike? You could have been the first heavyweight champion from Nigeria. Why the fuck did you do that? But shout out to Africa. Shout out to the Philippines. Shout out to Panama, because Panama's in the chat. And shout out to the GOAT, USA, the back-to-back World War champs. Shout out to us in the United States. So, Christopher said, I actually think this fight's a little closer than you think. Yeah, it's not like Albright was dominating him, Christopher, but he buckled him multiple times. He was the aggressor. Davis landed very little of note. I get what you mean. It's not like either guy was setting the world on fire, and thus you have a close fight then. If it's nip and tuck, and there ain't a whole lot of clean punches being landed either way, Christopher, then you do kind of got a close fight. But I thought clearly one guy did better than the other, and that was Nasir Albright. Look at CompuBox. Kelvin Davis threw 130 punches, and Nasir Albright only threw 286. At least it's a 10-round fight. But he threw 13 punches around. Anyway, Nasir Albright landed 99 punches to just 45 for Kelvin. So it's a robbery, Christopher. He more than doubled his connects. He more than doubled the punches thrown and landed, and he was the aggressor, and he hurt him. All Kelvin Davis did tonight, better than Nasir Albright, was being from Virginia. He is way better than Nasir Albright at being from Virginia. Outside of that, Nasir Albright did everything better than him tonight. So we'll see. Matt Borges has said it's going to be a draw. Let's see. Did Bradley just say he doesn't know who's going to win? He's not a judge? I thought Nasir Albright clearly won. He outlanded him. He was the aggressor. He hurt him. What is the argument otherwise? Other than, well, you didn't just totally beat the shit out of him, and the other guy's undefeated, and it's his hometown. This was supposed to be his brother's show. We can't give you the win. That's the only argument. All right, let's see what happened here. 97-93. 96-94. And the winner by unanimous decision is Nasir Albright gets the win. Good. Yeah, there was no way you could rob him. Davis did nothing. He didn't do anything. You got to do something if you're going to let the judges help you out. And Nasir Albright wins a majority decision. You are all wasting our time talking, says Living. Well, Living, you do not have to waste your time. You can leave. Or you can stay. I'd rather you stay. That was they didn't rob him. Yeah, no, they didn't. They couldn't. They couldn't rob him. Kelvin didn't do anything. Shout out to Kelvin. Kelvin had good composure at first, and then by rounds 9 and 10, he kind of packed it in and just clinched a lot, because if he couldn't find an adjustment the first 8, him trying to just step on the gas, that's your last ditch. The last ditch adjustment is step on the gas. All the other adjustments first are, can I counter with this shot? Can I set up this shot? Can I box? Can I get this jab going? Can I figure this, that, or this out? And if all else fails, the last adjustment is turn it the fuck up. Is all right then, be a dog and risk getting knocked out. Turn it up. Turn up the volume. And I think Kelvin, whether he knew it or not, if that was the adjustment, he might have got put out and stopped. So we want guys to go out on their shield, and that's what the old fighters back in the day did. They computed the situation like robots, like analyzing every adjustment hasn't worked. Only adjustment left is to go forward and try to win by knockout or risk getting knocked out. And they were like computes, and they would do it. But that's a rare thing in today's game, regardless of what amateur program you came out of. It's just most fighters aren't going to do that, and it's probably a wise decision more times than not, because at that point it's more likely to get you knocked out than it actually work. And I think that would have been the case with Kelvin. So in rounds 9 and 10, he kind of packed it in and just got to the final bell, and it is what it is. But earlier in the fight, he tried to bite down. He just couldn't find the right adjustments, and it is what it is. Not here, Albright was the better professional, craftier guy. He wins. So that's how that goes. Vargas brothers still undefeated. Bro, I was explaining earlier that Top Rank probably has Kelvin because as a favor to Keshan. Like, they do that. If they do that to keep one of their stars happy as a sign of loyalty, good faith. Emiliano is on his way to getting Amato and Fernando Jr. signed to Top Rank. If he keeps on this trek he's going on, he's going to get them signed to Top Rank. You heard it here first. Emiliano Vargas keeps blowing through the competition. He's going to get Amato and Fernando Jr. signed because Top Rank's going to be like, we love you and never want you to leave. We are going to sign your brothers just out of respect for you. Watch. At least Keon won, says Key Murray. Yeah, Keon's good. He had Shakur Stevenson calling him the modern-day Tommy Hearns. That's a bit much, but Keon looks good, and he had a good knockout win earlier. Scooter Davis had a nice knockout win. I like Scooter Davis. I like his personality. I like his talent, his headbangers, DMV mentality. I like Scooter Davis. I'll be looking forward to him coming up. And check out the interview I had with him. It was a really good interview. In my biased opinion. We interviewed him on the channel a couple days ago, so check it out. Lester Walnut says, come on, Sean, no grit, no glory. Davis lacked that walk him down pressure. I'm not disagreeing. Javari Stevenson said Davis is weak at 140. Yeah, he should move up. He's definitely cutting too much getting down to 140. He's huge. He's like 6'2", 6'3", he's taller than me. And getting down to 140, there's nothing. You're taking too much out of your steam. Taking too much steam out of you. He should go to 47, but even at 47, it'll help make him stronger. But it's a technique thing. His technique isn't the best, and I don't know. He's already in his mid-20s. I don't know how much better that's going to get. So we'll see. Let's see here. Demetrius Brown says DB3 let the city down this week. Matt Borgeson said, I told you there would be a draw of some kind, though. You did. We did get 195-95. JW says Keshan got his fight canceled, had to watch his big brother get cooked, and now he has to watch the top prospect he tried to punk headline in his place. Tough weekend, bruh. Well, maybe God really loves Keshan Davis. God sometimes, I think, based on my experience in life, sometimes the good kids get punished more than the bad kids because God knows the bad kid's not going to listen anyway. So sometimes the good kid, in God's eyes, he gets humbled twice as hard because he knows that the good kid's going to actually be introspective enough to hear the voice of God and learn from it. So maybe Keshan was getting filled with hubris really quickly, letting his first experience being a champion of the world, being world champion, get to his head a little bit. And maybe God knows that Keshan deep down is one of the good ones, has a good soul, and that's why he had this debacle happen to him, so that he can save him from things down the road that he does not foresee if he continued to let his spirit be filled with hubris. I don't know. I know I'm being very pretentious by pretending to think what God would think, but it's my live, right? So that's how my brain works sometimes. That's a thought that entered my mind about Keshan because he's getting humbled so much quicker into his run by his own accord. He messed up, right? But he's getting humbled so much quicker into his championship level run than Haney and Tank and Tio and all these other guys. Maybe God's doing him a favor. Maybe he's slowing him down right here at this juncture and teaching him something important now that's going to serve him well the rest of his career. I don't know. Lester Walnuts says Abdullah's about to save the night. Yeah, Abdullah's about to show up and show out, I think. But there's always a chance he doesn't. Let's play devil's advocate here. Styles make fights. Raymond Murataya knows how to do that Mexican high. I mean, what's funny is Murataya, he boxes a little too much for his own good. He wound up outboxing Abdullayev in a dull 12-round decision to become champion. Murataya, I think, doesn't realize how much heat he's got in his hands. He needs to high guard it and fight a little bit more like a Mexican. And so he fought like that in by far the best showing of his career. The Raymond Murataya that fought Jeremiah Nakathila, bring that guy. I made that joke earlier in the stream. Whatever he ate for lunch, for dinner that night after the weigh-in for Nakathila, whatever shirt he had on pulling up to the dressing room that night, eat it or wear it again, because that Raymond Murataya was a problem with that sense of urgency. Anyways, Raymond has the ability to be in the high guard and do that kind of style. Abdullah, the part of why he got caught and dropped in the pocket is he likes to shoulder roll and shoot the left uppercut even in close. And I know he actually had his hand up when that counter shot still found him in between the guard and knocked him down. But what I'm saying is we don't know if Abdullah has that in his game. He showed it in his last fight. The dude took him 5 or 6 rounds and forced Abdullah to pick the gloves up. But Abdullah doesn't really cut the ring off yet. He doesn't feint. He's not super busy behind the jab in the high guard. So Nakathila might be able to extend him some rounds because Nakathila is long, has the threat of a right hand at long range, and Abdullah might not look so hot for a few rounds before inevitably the range closes and he can shoot off his best shit. But maybe Nakathila keeps it long, keeps him honest with the right hand, and makes him look not so spectacular for some rounds. That's possible. We keep learning in the Big 25 to let these fights play out. So Abdullah, he's got a beautiful teal. We got to bring the Larry Johnson back out. We love teal on this channel. We love teal. We support the teal movement. But just because he has an awesome teal robe does not mean he's going to have an awesome performance. We can't jump the gun here. But I think he will. But I do think he will. Remy Ogun said that was instant karma. Nakathila has a puncher's chance at 1,100 odds. Remy said that's deep SZ, no Diddy. Thank you, sir. Demetrius Brown said he lost me when he said he's not fighting Murataya because he doesn't want to pay for another belt. That sounded like a duck to me. You know what that sounded like to me? Like Floyd Mayweather. That sounded like Floyd, because Floyd often didn't unify. Floyd only unified for the Canelo and the Pacquiao fights, I think, and Maidana, because he was defending the unified belts he had won from Canelo. But outside of that, Floyd was, give me the WBC and I'm good. Floyd never became undisputed because he didn't care about that. And so when he talked about, I don't want to pay 2 sanctioning fees, I'm like, that's Floyd. That's Floyd telling him, you don't got to pay sanctioning. You don't need 2 belts. I only had 1 belt. I became the biggest pay-per-view star. And all that. And that's not what I think. I think Floyd told Keshan that, and that is a microcosm of the downside of the Floyd Mayweather influence in the young fighters' lives. The upside is the best boxing brain, along with Bernard Hopkins, and Andre Ward's up there too. There's a few other, Roberto Duran, but anyways, essentially as good a sharp a boxing mind as you will ever come across on this planet. That's the pro, and all the gems in the game and the knowledge and the wisdom that comes with it. That's the obvious pros. The cons is Floyd's a narcissist, and he he's going to inadvertently mold you into a malcontent. He doesn't realize, he doesn't do it on purpose, in my opinion. He has a form of nihilism. Nothing matters but money. No one's ever going to love you or give you any credit. Not the media, not the fans. You know, they would rather have you punch drunk entertaining them and in the hospital, and then they won't be there to pay your medical bills. And then, you know, he and there's a lot of truth to that. But it's like, Floyd, you didn't have that influence. You grew up with the Larry Holmes, Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Pernell Whitaker influence of true champion. Take on all comers. Glory, glory, glory. The best. Number one pound for pound. Photo ops with titles. All that good stuff. And he has replaced a lot of those icons with his gospel and his everything he's about. And there's a lot of truth to that. That's why it resonates. You know, I'm not shooting down the great Floyd Mayweather. He's the best fighter of my lifetime. But all that rhetoric inadvertently also molds a malcontent. Well, if all that matters is money, and I'm never going to get the credit, and I'm never... that doesn't always produce positive results. And I don't think Floyd knows he's doing that when he gives them the game. Look at Keshan, the businessman. Gee, I wonder which fighter influenced that moniker. Could it be Floyd Mayweather? And then you haven't even defended your title once, and you're talking cash shit. You're not talking glory. You're not talking being the best. You're not sounding like a hungry young champion. You're sounding like Floyd Mayweather. Like, you know, Andy Cruz has got to do something to be on my level. I don't want to pay another sanctioning fee to Murtaugh. It's like, whoa. You know, and everybody goes, you know, that pretty boy Floyd is different than Money Mayweather. Yeah, but pretty boy Floyd had to be pretty boy Floyd. Pretty boy Floyd is what you saw from Floyd Mayweather when he didn't get to control the infrastructure of the game. Pretty boy Floyd is what's produced when HBO is running the game. And there's a balance, a checks and balances of powers of promoters and fighters and networks and all that kind of stuff, to where the fighter just can't have all the leverage Floyd has by the time he's fighting on Showtime and late in the second half of his HBO run. What you're seeing, what you saw, and Floyd still beat a bunch of amazing, great fighters as Money Mayweather. Not always at the time that they're at their peak, but whatever. He did his thing, no doubt about it. But Money Mayweather is what you saw once Floyd and Al controlled the infrastructure, once they had the leverage. And that's the blueprint you see all these young guys following. And the reason why they're not following the pretty boy blueprint is because they don't have to. That infrastructure doesn't exist anymore. This isn't 1998. This isn't 2003. And that infrastructure that's been changed has largely been influenced by him. And you're seeing some of the downsides of that come to play. And it's hard for people to grasp two seemingly contradicting things being true at the same time. That Floyd's the greatest fighter of my lifetime and has as great a resume as anybody, but he also negatively influenced the game. Most people can only see one or the other. They can't see that the two simultaneously exist at the same time. So there you go. Anyways, Jeremiah Nakathila coming to the ring now. It is main event time. And that's a point I'm going to continue to harp on because his influence is still here and it's not going anywhere in the near future. So it's going to be something we continue to unpack as we go along. So Jeremiah Nakathila coming to the ring. No, Floyd created his own path. Millions was paid to see him lose. Fact check. Yeah, I know that. Everybody. And that exposed deeper biases about our culture. Why are you so anxious to see this black guy get beat up? Why? Because he talks too much and all that? Well, if all you care about is a humble, good man fighter, then why isn't Leo Santa Cruz or who would be the perfect image of that? You know, why isn't that fighter A with a belt who fulfills all those things you claim to want isn't the big superstar Floyd Mayweather is? Because that's not what you really want. And, you know, that's a whole other convo. But anyways, here we go. Nakatila's in the ring. It's time for Abdullah Mason to take center stage and make people feel like he's the best young fighter in America coming up, maybe the best young fighter below the heavyweight division coming up. Number 2 WBO contender, 18-0, 16 knockouts. Got his 4 brothers beside him and his dad. And that is one obstacle young Abdullah Mason will have to overcome in his career. Where does him and his whole family are learning on the job at the championship level. Keshan Davis, guys like that, they got Terrence Crawford, they got Bo Mack, they got Floyd Mayweather, they got decades and centuries sometimes of experience in their ear telling them when to feint, telling them all the little sophisticated nuances of the championship level. Abdullah Mason has to learn it on the fly. That is a challenge in his career. But the young man has electricity and dynamite in his fist. Can he accrue the sophistication around the speed and the power, the stuff that is God gifted to him? Can he learn how to feint? Can he learn to cut the ring off? Can he learn to be busy with his jab? That's what we got to find out as we go along. But we know he has dynamite and electricity in his gloves. And that's what we're here to see tonight in this main event. So, Andre Ward. There you go. Yeah, Andre Ward. Then Andre Ward would have been the superstar that they claim they all want. There you go. Andre Ward. And Andre talked about that. How he felt not playing into that kind of role cost him money, you know. But he would ask, why do I have to be that? And that's a deeper question to examine. But so here we are. Abdullah Mason in the ring. Let's get to main event time here. Panama says Abdullah in 4. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Caleb, for thinking that was insightful and not just long-winded. I think it's both. I'm long-winded and insightful. But here we go. Abdullah will, in my mind, no doubt be fighting for the WBO strap in his next fight. Sam Noakes. And it sounds like Top Rank wants him to go to England. They don't want to pay for it. Go over there. It might actually make money in England. So, here we go. Judges tonight, Mark Diatilio, Benoit Roussel, and Steve Weisfeld. The OG Steve Weisfeld, over 3,000 fights judge. Steve Weisfeld, usually a good judge. Ludica says, why are all YouTubers so selfish? You got to be a bit of an asshole to want to see yourself on screen to answer your question. So maybe that's what you're picking up on. But Lester Walnut says Abdullah battle tested. He hit the canvas, got up and run. Prediction: middle round stoppage. I think Nakathila will keep Abdullah honest. I think Abdullah is going to try to be mature in the sense that he doesn't try to rush this fight and be spectacular and steal and upstage Keshan and, I'm the main event. I'm going to knock this dude out in 2 rounds. No, I think the right hand and the length of Nakathila will keep Mason honest. And I think Mason will take his time because he'll be anxious not to be anxious. He'll be anxious to be patient. And I think he'll take his time and try to be responsible in how he cuts the distance. I think by rounds 5, 6, maybe as early as 4, I think Abdullah could start to get him out of there. But, I think Nakathila is going to move and keep it long and try to keep him honest with the right hand positioning. And Abdullah will try to be smart and patient and not try to rush this thing. Abdullah outfit is kind of fire, says Remy. What's up, Gustavo? Good to see you, my brother. Here we go. Knockdown in the 7th. Full fight, though, says Bebop. All right, main event time. Getting ready. Abdullah pacing around the ring. And let's see if Nakathila shows up to survive. Let's see if Abdullah can cut the ring off. Let's see if he could double up his jab to create openings off his jab. Or let's see if he doesn't cut the ring off and he follows Nakathila around the ring and gets frustrated trying to get a big shot in. Let's see. Because that's what Nakathila might do, man. Nakathila, a little bit dry. Both fighters a little dry in the center of the ring. Nakathila, of course, was a super featherweight. His best win, knocking out Miguel Burchell in a bit of an upset in that fight. Marion Davis cannot show the fight. We do not have the rights to the fight. This is a live round by round instead. Stick around if you'd like. All right, and we're set to get this fight going. Round 1, we're set to get going. And let's see if Abdullah can just wow us, floor us, become that guy, that young fighter that everyone says is the surefire next pound for pound king or next great fighter, something like that. Let's get to it. Round 1, Mason immediately in the high guard steps to Nakathila. Nakathila fencing with that lead hand a little bit. Mason, that left foot up on the mark like a sprinter. Feints the left hand, does Mason to start in the center of the ring. Nakathila lets go of his jab. Mason catches it on the right glove. Mason stepping over to his right. Jab to the body by Mason to start. Nice jab to the body to get started from Mason there. Now Nakathila takes a step forward and Mason bounces up and down. Steps to his right, steps to his left, plants his feet near the corner now. Nakathila, behind his jab, makes Mason's back touch the ropes. 1-2 to the body by Mason in the center of the ring. Sharp 1-2 to the body. Nakathila measuring with his lead hand. Jab by Mason. Mason keeping it very tight. Everything he does sharp. Nakathila with his first straight right hand. Mason steps out of range and quickly bounces back into range. Quick step in and out of range by Abdullah Mason there. Mason trying to counter with a right hook over the top of the jab. Fast hands by Abdullah Mason. You can see it. Mason dropping the lead hand now. Picks it back up. High guard. Center ring. Minute 45 in the round. Lead right hook by Mason. And he tightens up the high guard to catch what's coming back. Nice quick lead right hook. Nakathila moved his head out of range. Part of it nicked him. Mason drops the lead hand. Feints a little bit. Holds his ground in the center of the ring. Now he picks the high guard back up. Drops the lead hand again. Shoots the jab out of that from the chest. Shoots the jab again. Shoots another jab. Straight left hand to the body by Mason. And that's what a disciplined fighter will do early off the jab. Just poke the body off the jab. Mason gets his head off the line for a straight right hand. Picks his gloves up. Shoots his jab. Nakathila touches the body. Nakathila pawned with his jab. Reacting to Mason. Feints a little bit there. Mason, good sharp jab by Mason. He catches the body shot on the elbow in return from Nakathila. Straight right hand by Nakathila, touching Mason a little bit on the top of the head. Good jab by Mason. And early on, the fight is playing out the way I said it would, right, chat? Mason is being very patient, not being overzealous, and Nakathila is keeping him honest on the outside with his right hand positioning. Jab misses for Mason, sweeping left hand to the body off the mark. Mason trying to find the range with the jab. He's fighting a guy who knows his distance in a veteran in Nakathila. Straight right hand by Nakathila. Mason blocks it with the high guard. 20 seconds left in this slow feeling out round to start the fight. Mason gets underneath the sweeping right hand, keeps his high guard up. Good jab by Mason out of the high guard. Good jab again by Mason out of the high guard. An explosive jab springing out with his foot, with that lead foot, springing into the jab. An explosive lead jab. And Mason, smart first round by Mason. You know, that he can't reach for the brick hand, can't reach for the hook. Nakathila has good positioning. He's keeping it long on the outside, and, you know, that right hand is in good position. So Mason has to let the pace be slow, be defensively responsible. He was very defensively responsible that round, and find the jab first. Set the table. Eat your vegetables before you get to your steak. And use that jab first, and that's what Mason did. Lester Walnut says, great job on the commentary. Thank you, brother, for the super chat. Appreciate it, man. So, Remy says Mason is hella quick. He is. He's very fast. Everything he throws is fast and sharp and compact. He's explosive. Over the course of his career, he'll have to find a way to mix up the rhythm on his shots. Can't throw everything fast and sharp. Like Paulie Malignaggi would always teach us. But yeah, the boy is fast. The man is fast. I got to watch, the man is fast. So here we go. Round 2 now. Mason starting off in the high guard. Mason fighting a lot out of the high guard to start. Very disciplined. And Nakathila fires a straight right hand to the body. Mason staying defensively responsible, not getting touched with anything up top to start. Mason feints, plants his feet, picks the lead glove up. Nice sharp jab by Mason. And now Nakathila staying in front of Mason. Let's see if Mason lets his first straight left hand go, but Nakathila quick and reactive with a counter punch. Mason gets out of the way of the counter. Didn't land the lead left. Nakathila getting his head off the line from the jab. Another jab by Mason. Mason planting his feet, doubles up the jab. Catches a right hand, sweeping right hand by Nakathila on the inside. Mason has a guy in there who's sharp tonight in Nakathila. Nakathila keeping him honest. Straight right hand by Nakathila. Mason being very defensively responsible. Picking shots off. Jab by Mason. Nakathila gets his head off to the left, but part of that jab nicked him. A nice jab by Mason. Sets up his first sweeping left hand to the body. Part of that got in. Right hand by Nakathila. He's letting the right hand go. He's not throwing it, half-heartedly. Nakathila is firing the right hand. Now Mason lands his jab. Mason should feint more. That jab is starting to find the home here in round 2. And I think Nakathila is reacting to everything Mason does. So Mason might want to freeze him with some jabs here and stay with that jab. Or freeze him with some feints and stay with that jab. Halfway through the second. Good defense by Mason tonight. And he's staying composed behind the jab. Sweeping left hand by Mason. He reaches forward and misses, but those gloves are staying up tight. Good high guard tonight by Abdullah Mason. It's a tight high guard. Straight left hand counter by Mason. He countered the straight right hand of Nakathila. Now he lands his jab. Straight left hand to the body by Abdullah Mason. Good pinpoint accuracy on that one. Dips underneath and ties Nakathila up in the center of the ring. Nakathila finding it hard to land. I think some of the defense of Mason is frustrating him a little bit. Nakathila blocks the jab, but Nakathila beginning to get jittery, and Mason could take advantage of that. Yeah, he's reacting, not even feinting, and he's reacting as Nakathila. Straight right hand by Nakathila blocked. Left hook, right hand, both off the mark. Sharp defense getting his head off the line by Mason. 42 seconds left in the round. Nakathila jittery as this fight goes on. Mason got to take advantage of that. Straight left hand lands for Mason. Oh, nice hard punch. Quick combination by Mason. Straight left hand. And it's as if Mason has now figured him out. In that moment, it looks as though Mason may have now figured Nakathila out. And now he can begin to fight downhill. 20 seconds left in the round. Mason takes an angle. Ooh, almost gets caught by a sweeping right hand counter as he tried to give the angle. Good defense by Mason. Slipping and weaving out of the shoulder roll look, and then picks the glove up immediately. Makes Nakathila miss a left hook. Makes Nakathila miss a right hand. Steps in, Nakathila ties him up. Good defense. Some strides being shown by Abdullah Mason defensively tonight. He's been the hardest to hit he's been so far as a pro. The defense is sharper tonight. It's leveled up a little bit, and we've yet to see the dynamite, but it's because he's taking his time against a guy who's long and rangy, got a good right hand, and making him take his time. Good. Not a spectacular first 2 rounds by Mason, but very sharp defense and good punch selection. And in the last 30, 40 seconds there, he found his left hand for the first time, and it looked like he's beginning to already figure out Nakathila and can start getting this ball rolling offensively. So we'll see. So let's see. Keon and Keshan jumped Albright in the locker room, they just said. What? Man, that is shitty. Oh, man. That is really shitty of them. That is all bad. All right, well, round 3 of Abdullah Mason. This is the Abdullah Mason show now. So Abdullah Mason, 24-9, connected, and only 17% of punches being landed by Nakathila. That's Shakur Floyd territory. So like I said, good defense early on by Abdullah Mason. Mason shooting his jab. Nakathila, to his credit, not just on his bike. Nakathila trying to win this fight. And I didn't know if he'd do that. Mason cutting the distance, can't find him with the 1-2s, but finds him with a right hook. And then that's Mason actually taking something off his shot. Mason parrying well out of the shoulder roll, mixing up the defensive looks. Sometimes it's the high guard, sometimes it's the shoulder roll, but that shoulder roll is not static. He's moving the shoulder, he's actually rolling and parrying with the shoulder roll. Minute into the round. Good combination on the inside by Nakathila. Most of that missing, but that right hand found the body. Good jab by Abdullah out of the high guard. Abdullah Eats a right hand because he's trying to find something to counter. He had good defense the first 3 punches. Then he tries to time up a counter, and actually part of that right hand got in. Left uppercut to the body by Abdullah Mason. Great leverage on that shot. Straight left hand to the body by Abdullah Mason. Nakathila keeping him off. Mason shakes his arms out. The veteran's making him think and making him have to work in there. Not letting him just have his way. Good jab by Abdullah. Another good jab by Abdullah. But he wants this. You could tell he's getting to the part of the fight. He wants to land some heat. But Nakathila's making him think. Slowing him. Good jabs by Abdullah. Another good jab by Abdullah Mason. Another good jab by Abdullah Mason. From the hip this time. The up jab. Nakathila loses his footing for a minute. Nice jab by Abdullah Mason. And he shoots a left uppercut to the body, rolls a shot in return. Left uppercuts to the body. The body work of Abdullah Mason. Now a straight left hand up top. Nakathila retreats to the ropes. Good left hook by Nakathila just off the mark. Good reflexes by Mason with the chin exposed, but he slipped it clean. Good jab by Mason. Sharp jab from the hip. That's an up jab. Mason stepping over to his left to cut the ring off a little bit. Now starting to take side steps more and more. Not just following Nakathila around the ring. Nakathila staying in front of Mason. Mason not letting his hands go. Respecting the right hand of Nakathila. 30 seconds left in the third. Still not a spectacular showing yet, but an intelligent, sharp performance so far by Abdullah Mason. Showing maturity here, but not wowing people just yet. Abdullah not able to... sweeping left hand. Knocks Nakathila back and buckles his legs. Nakathila into the ropes. Let's go over right hand and the left hook, but Abdullah has got the radar on point. He can't hit him. And it's a myriad of defensive moves. Abdullah's not just doing the same 2 or 3 defensive moves over and over again. There's a little left hook on the inside by Nakathila, but good sweeping left hand near the end for Abdullah Mason. Man, so far, chat, my prediction's holding pretty true, right? I said Nakathila would keep him honest with the right hand. He'd move around the ring and force Abdullah to be patient. Now as we get into the fourth, 4, 5, and 6 is where I think the heat can start to be landed. And maybe you could see a middle round stoppage. Or not. Nakathila is getting his rounds in and making Abdullah have to think and slow down his pace. So we'll see what goes on. But I do think, Maria C says, here we go. Yeah, I think this is the part of the fight now where Mason can get to cooking. And you got to give credit to Murataya. Murataya got Nakathila out of there in 3 rounds. I'll say it for the 100th time this stream. We need that Raymond Murataya every time. So here we go. Round 4 now. Mason has got a bit of a rhythm behind his jab. Found the body. And there's the few times that Nakathila plants in front of Mason, he doesn't rip. And maybe it's time to do that now, because he respects the right hand of Nakathila. Now Mason coming forward in the high guard, gets Nakathila to the ropes. Nakathila defensively responsible, catching some of those body shots. Left uppercut off the mark for Mason, but it backs Nakathila out. Nakathila more and more off balance as this fight continues. Nice 1-2 by Nakathila. Mason slipping some of those shots. Now back on the jab is Mason. Mason picks the lead hand up, high guard. No feints from Mason, though. And Mason is leaving food on the table by not feinting. There's a good jab by Mason. Mason making him fall short with the 1-2, but no jabs from Abdullah Mason. You'd like to see that. Nice withering left uppercut to the body by Mason. In a quick combination, Nakathila makes him miss. Counters with a right hand. Good veteran Nakathila shaking his hand. Nope. Eats a jab by Mason, but makes him reach for the power shot. Straight right hand through the center for Nakathila. Mason blocks it, but Nakathila threatening with that right hand all night long. Jab by Mason, a little off the mark. Jab to the body by Mason. And Mason right now is getting in quality experience round. 2 straight left hands by Mason. Buckle Nakathila. Nakathila's legs not underneath him, and he holds Mason in the center of the ring. 2 or 3 straight left hands got that started. Straight left hand right through the center by Abdullah Mason. Back comes Nakathila with a right hand to the body. Straight left hand to the body by Mason. Poking it like a cattle prod. Another straight left hand to the body. Nakathila still letting his hands go against the ropes. Nakathila bleeding from the left eye. That might be from that sharp jab all night of Mason. Minute 15 left. Sharp jab lands for Mason. Straight left hand to the body lands for Mason. Nakathila taking steps back, eats a jab by Mason. Mason cutting up that left eye behind his jab. Straight right hand by Nakathila. Two of them, good ones. Land on the chest of Mason, keeping Mason honest. Good jab by Mason. Mason coming in behind his jab, getting his feet underneath him, drops the lead hand, lowers his stance, bends his knees, gets ready to parry with the back glove. But Nakathila doesn't fire. Now a 1-2. Mason maybe waiting on Nakathila a little bit. You got to be first and last. And Mason wants that counter shot, but he's got to set up the counter by initiating, drawing out the punch by Nakathila, and then countering. That's what they call being first and last. Straight left hands to the body by Mason. Nakathila keeping him off with the right hand. Another straight left hand to the body by Mason. Another straight left hand to the body. Nakathila letting his hands go in the corner. Mason not getting hit though. Swimming underneath those shots. 10 seconds left. Nakathila cornered. Left hand to the body by Mason. Short right hook up top. Straight left hand by Mason. Good, sharp, clean shots. And the referee takes a good look at Nakathila. Nakathila not taking a lot of punishment, but he's jittery in there. And his left eye is cutting up real bad from the jab of Mason. Again, Mason's still not able to put together the highlight reel stuff, but these are quality rounds that he needs. And he's getting them by a veteran in Nakathila. So, what up, Mr. Quake? What's up, Mr. Quake? Good to see you always, brother. Joel's Bandana says Mason fights a little like Haney. I know what you mean. The way the positioning with their gloves, their stance. Sometimes they do that same lead hand at the hip stance, lower, keep the left hand kind of cocked by the chin and the chest, and try to create off that right there. Yeah, I know what you mean. And sometimes he'll pop the jab from the hip, the same type of up jab Devin will do. Abdullah doesn't lift his chin behind his up jab as often as Devin did, though. Devin sometimes would, you know what I mean? And Mason tonight has done a good job sometimes, jumping into it with his knee. Are they thinking of stopping this fight? And they're taking a hard look at Nakathila in the corner. The ref seems to be saying no more, and they're going to stop this anticlimactic stoppage there. By the way, who said between 4, 5, and 6 and that Nakathila would move around the ring and keep him honest with the right hand? I'm just saying. Larry Johnson for 3 with the 4-point shot against the Pacers. Anyway, Abdullah Mason gets the stoppage. Nakathila can't make it off of his stool for the 5th round. It isn't the show. It isn't the performance Abdullah Mason wanted. I'm positive he'll tell you after the fight that I was just getting started and I really feel like I was about to get to cooking his ass in the next couple rounds. But that was good for him. He needed to think, and he needed to learn how to cut the ring off and use his jab. He accomplished a few things tonight. He learned, he made good use of multiple stances, high guard, shoulder roll, and he was proficient out of all of them. His defense got better tonight. He was forced to fight behind his jab and be methodical. He needed that. He got that experience tonight. His defense was better tonight, and those were quality experience rounds. None of these rounds are going to make the highlight reel, unfortunately, and that's what you want if you're Abdullah Mason as your first main event. But if you know what you're looking at, it wasn't a disappointing performance. It was a good, strong performance, and it was a vegetables performance. This wasn't an ice cream sundae. This wasn't a Five Guys burger. This was Abdullah Mason getting some of his carrots and vegetables and spinach tonight that he needed to serve him better down the course of his career. So, good job by Abdullah Mason. Yep. So, that's what I would call it. All right, chat. So, I think that was a B+, A- maybe. I think that was a strong B+, A-. Well, we'll give him the 90. We'll give him the A- because he hardly got hit and he gets the stoppage. So, we'll give him the A-. What would he have needed to do to be the A+? He would have had to find a way to create combinations off the jab double it up, feint more. And he didn't do those things. That's the number one thing I think he needs to try to incorporate into his game is more feints. Because he had Nakathila reacting off no feints. He had Nakathila, oh shit. And it's like, well, if you feinted and you freeze him with that reaction, you could follow it up with something. But, that's like the real sophisticated level, and him and his pops and his brothers are learning on the job. They don't have that Terrence Crawford, Floyd Mayweather in their corner like a Shakur, like a Keshan, like Devin had, like Tank had. It's just them on their own. And in the long run, maybe it benefits them the best. We didn't need anyone to hold our hand. We didn't need that. The old school way was the best way to learn was the hard way, through experience, through the hard-headed way. The no one told you and you had to find out the hard way, but sometimes the hard way is the best way. And Abdullah Mason, if and hopefully when he acquires that wisdom, that knowledge, that sophistication in the ring, he will have learned and acquired it himself. It wasn't taught to him. He had to learn it in the ring himself, and maybe that allows him to grasp it at a deeper level than the young guys who knew it at a younger age than him, but had it passed down to them. I don't know. You get what I'm saying? We'll see. But Lester Walnuts, thank you for the super chat, said, don't leave without bringing up what went on backstage. Thoughts on Keshan? Well, let's take a look here. Let me check the old Twitter to see what's going on. Let me see. You guys could have me saying things that are crazy going on that didn't happen. I don't think chat would do that to me, though. Chat got love for your boy. It wouldn't mislead me. Hold on. I'm on my wifey's burner account. I got to sign out. I'm on my wife's burner account. I got to get off of this. I do not have a burner account. It is just Sean Zittel. But my wife, when sometimes she thinks people are talking too much shit about me, wifey might get on the burner. All right, here we go. Let's see what we got here. I got to see this on Twitter. Now, here Albright's...
Brother like jumped me, like they start walking up to me all tough, putting his head against mine, and then grab Sean and his little brother like jumped me, like they start walking up to me all tough, putting his head against mine, and then grab.
Well, so far we only have his account of it, and thankfully Nahir doesn't look like he took extra bumps and bruises. So did they walk up on him and a confrontation ensued, or is he saying they literally definitely took extra bumps and bruises? Zittel, that cut over his right eye wasn't there post fight. I think it was though. He was, am I getting it confused? Right, is smart. He's thinking money. Yeah. They jumped me. I want another payday. I want to fight Keshan again.
Sure, feel me, you approaching me.
Good for you.
On my best night. Feel me, now we got to settle that.
Wasn't their first fight a no contest anyways? I'm pretty sure I was at that fight in Oklahoma on the Maxie Hughes undercard, and I remember I might have it confused with another Keshan fight. Who did Keshan fight on the Maxie Hughes? He fought Patera. Yeah. He fought Patera. Albright, right. That was one judge had it a draw. He didn't even beat Nahir Albright. That's a no contest. And now he beat your brother and you try to jump. Nahir Albright's got a point, chat. He kind of should probably get to fight Keshan Davis next. And this fight was at 140, and Keshan can't make lightweight anymore. So, yeah.
Have you ever heard of this before? Guys getting jumped in their locker room after a fight?
He's like, no, it's pretty Bush League. Let's see.
Not even in Philly?
Heard of it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, let's see my note. Let's see now. Damn. Of all the nights I don't show up, Sean, I need confirmation. I know you're on the ground. Did they really? I'm not on the ground. Damn. I'm sorry. Respect the elf. I am not on the ground. What do I think of? Man, what do I? Okay. I'm gonna keep it funky with you guys. I don't like kicking people when they're down. I think that's just not in good character. So, I don't like it once an athlete or a fighter. I think it shows a lot more as a journalist when you call people out when everybody's sucking their dick. When everybody's dick riding and you go, no, but this isn't right, or this isn't all that, or you dissent with truth when the popular thing to do is dick ride, right? I don't like revealing my critiques once the green light is on. I even coined a term in sports media called green light artists. And what's a green light artist? A green light artist is someone who pretends to be a hard-hitting, fearless journalist by emptying the clip once the green light is already on. So I hesitate to come down on Keshan Davis now about the immaturity and this bullshit with Albright and blowing weight, because I didn't have the balls to tell you guys what I thought weeks ago about how he was acting. I said it after the fact with Raheem, right? And you can go back and watch my interview heading into it to show I wasn't lying, that he was trying to check me and be adversarial with me. And but what I want, if I was being honest, weeks ago, months ago, around after the Barenchik fight, I'm not going to name names. I've seen fighters, multiple fighters, literally become world champion and switch up on you and go from, yeah, Sean, you can interview me whenever you want, and then they're engaging in the interview, to they win that title, and now it's and part of you has to not be selfish enough to understand them as human beings, that when you become champion, everybody wants something from you, including me, right? I want my interview. Everybody wants something. You got, all of a sudden there's new faces and everybody's pulling at you. And that might make you a little bit more dickish sometimes than you were when there wasn't as many people doing that and you could just be a young, hungry fighter. So I get it. But despite that, I noticed that hubris hit Keshan right away. Like right away when he came on the Porter Way, and it was just his demeanor had changed. He was getting at me about Andy Cruz, because I said on Sean's show, I didn't like that when after Cruz's last fight in Vegas and Keshan was ringside and Keshan just kind of blew him off with a fist pound, and I didn't like that. I said, no, a Michael Jordan, a Tom Brady, I'm gonna beat your ass in the professionals. You've been talking a lot, and I want my lick back from the gold medal match. This isn't Mark Castro who beat Keshan in the amateur. You don't got to fight Mark Castro in the professionals. But Andy Cruz is a contender. Andy Cruz isn't just some amateur standout. He beat you in the gold medal fight, and he's like number one with the IBF. He's like, he's a legit guy in the pros, and that's a legit fight. That's a good fight. So he's getting at me at the Top Rank gym about all that, and I liked it because he was being he did it with a smile. That's what Muhammad Ali mastered. Muhammad Ali would shit all over his opponent, talk crazy about him and all that, but he did it in a way that was likable. There was something to his energy and his demeanor that was positive as he was saying all these demeaning things that made you smile. And that's what Keshan was doing to me about Andy Cruz at the Top Rank gym before the Barenchik fight. He's busting my balls, right? And we're going back and forth having fun with it, right? Then he wins that title, and he's on his shit. Then the next interview, you don't know about boxing. You don't know about, you know boxing, but you don't know fighting. Y'all reporters really don't know anything, and da-da-da-da-da. And he's trying to check me left and right on every other question. And it's just like, whoa. What's like, why? You're letting this get to your head. You're letting this get to your head a little bit. And I regret not, here's a thought I had that I didn't have the balls to say, that I wanted to say here and I want to say on Sean's. And I'll say it now, because now the green light's on and I'm being what I hate. But I wanted to tell everyone, believe people when they show you who they are. He's telling you, I'm the businessman. So he's immediately telling you, like, I'm not the true champion. If you're looking for a guy who's hungry to just be great and rack up the titles and beat the best fighters in the world and be the fucking best and turn over every stone I can to prove to you all, the public, the paying public, I am the best, I am the next pound for pound king. I wanted to tell people weeks ago, keep your expectations in check. Because he's already telling us, I'm not that guy. I'm the businessman. And then, sure enough, fight week gets here. Unification, unification, Andy Cruz, I want Pitbull Cruz at 140. I want Edwin De Los Santos 19 months out of the ring. There were already little signs before he blew the weight that keep your expectations in check. If you're looking for the next great, amazing, number one pound for pound, unfortunately, he was already showing signs that he's another in this growing line of talented, and he will be decorated because he is talented and he is very good. Talented, very good American fighters who they want that money, and they want that money. And all fighters want the money. Muhammad Ali wanted the money. Sugar Ray Robinson said, I'm not getting in the ring unless you give me more money. But those guys also would die in the ring. They would die in the ring. They would die in the ring. And it also, just as hungry as they were, this is a word that's missing in boxing's lexicon today, glory. Just as hungry as they were for money, they were hungry for glory. They love, Manny Pacquiao is like that. Yeah, he loves the money. Yes, he loves to be praised. But the moment they lived for is the knockout and looking out to the sea of people and doing this. And these guys like that feeling, but I don't think they're addicted to it and crave it the way Pacquiao, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard did. And when Keshan's telling you, I'm the businessman, and forget murder, he was already telling you, I'm not that guy. I'm really, really good. I'm going to do some really good things in boxing. I'm definitely a fighter you need to watch. I'm a bad mofo. But if you were looking for that next guy to set your soul on fire, who wants to do nothing more than prove he is the best, keep looking. And that's what I was too scared to say. And I'm not proud of saying it now. And hopefully I grow the balls to say it ahead of time more. But part of why, it's not just me not having balls. It's who am I at the end of the day? If you're being honest and you have enough humility about you, who the fuck am I to say something about a young man in his mid-20s who's becoming a millionaire, who's changing his family's livelihood with his bare hands and winning professional prize fights against other grown men and becoming world champion? Who are you, fucked up haircut guy in his room, to be saying this, that, and the third about it? But guess what? If I want to do this job at a high level, you have to say those things and risk the fans, the fighters, other media members thinking you're a know-it-all schmuck, who sits on his whatever. You got to risk not being liked to tell the truth, is what I'm getting at. And hopefully next time I see a young fighter in this scenario is playing out, hopefully I got the balls to tell you guys it's playing out before it plays out. So that's what I think. Yep. So yeah. So, I don't know, chat. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? It's, who's going to be the young champ? Will Carmel follow this same path of Haney? Think it's a pattern here, guys. They are talented, wide-eyed youngsters. They become champion. They become filled with hubris. And then they go on to do good things and make money, but not satiate the craving that you and I and we all have, aficionados for the sport, right? And people like me are left wondering, am I just asking for too much? And no. Then you go back and watch the old great fighters and the great fight. No, you just want, that's what you want. You want that to continue. So yeah, that's this is the pattern with them. They do something really good. They win a title. They become champion, and then they take a step back, and they're maturing before our very eyes. I was way worse than they were. I wasn't becoming world champion, making millions of dollars, and that's what makes me hesitate to make these truthful cutting critiques sometimes. Who am I? These kids have went out there and made it happen for themselves. But I got to keep it real, right? I got to keep it real, or why run my mouth? Why open my mouth in the first place? So what about Keshan and Keon jumping to do? It's sad. You're not supposed to go out. Your mother's there. I know your mom taught you better than that, right? Mother seems like a wonderful, classy woman. It's just not a good look. It's a lot of fighters, they come from the street, or if they don't come from the street, they got that in them, and you can't let that override the growth you've had as a young man, and let that element of you come out and set you backwards and put you back. Maybe that's what happened a little bit with the Davis brothers. That same energy that gave them the balls and the belief to get in that ring and become a fighter is the same energy that made them do something stupid and jump. Now here, Albright, there's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for it. And if I'm Albright, I'm going Devin Haney. I'm suing you, or give me the fight. That's what Devin, and apparently it didn't work, right? Because Rolly beat Ryan, so they wound up just nothing happened. But do the Devin Haney, threaten to get him locked, press charges for assault or something. Or you could fight me on Top Rank, and we could both make a check and fight each other in the ring. But do what you got to do, Albright. So let's see. DB3, some sassy divas. Yeah, but it's at what point are we just, you can't, he's just following the path that they've all been following the last decade or so, and it's my job to examine why is that, rather than just dogpile and green light on them and diva, satellite, you know what I mean? Like, that's not, how can I find a way to put together some insight, some clarity for the situation, So yeah, they definitely not sassy. No, I wouldn't say that. Keshan's mad that his weekend is ruined. Yeah, man, life comes at you fast. So actually, I got to call my man Raheem, because me and Raheem are supposed to do something here. Let me see if Raheem is ready to shoot, because we'll do it live right here. We'll do the reaction show right here. Jamal Wilkerson said, Keshan, he hit a little fame and lost his mind. Well, look, that's harsh, and the fans are going to keep it more harsh than I am, because I'm still trying to walk this fine line in this business, this sport, where I give you guys the real, but I say it in a way that's respectful enough that I could still say it if Keshan was right in front of me. It's not easy to do. I don't know how to politely put some of these truthful critiques that need to be said, but I do my best. But let me say, oh, hold on, Raheem's calling me. Yo, brother. Yo, you want to rock tomorrow morning? I got the people on live now, or you want to rock now, or do they got to wait for the hotness in the morning? Wake up with it with their morning coffee.
Well, I think I'm gonna have to.
Let's rock in the morning, bro. Raheem is overseas in England. The man has to call a show from Ghana. The man is gonna be calling the commentary for Andrew Tubidi over on DAZN. Don't miss it, on DAZN. So Raheem, get some rest, brother, and let's rock in the morning.
All right, send me the fucking. The reason I don't have to log in. I kept texting you for the login.
I got you. I had to stay home tonight. Once they canceled the fight, I didn't leave, so I had to log in. I had to use the ESPN account. So let me send it to you now.
Yeah. All right.
All right, Raheem, get some rest, brother.
All right. Yeah. Wait, did you watch the Wardley fight, right?
I did. Fabio Wardley losing to Justice Huni. What a right hand, puts Huni down. Fabio Wardley. I saw it.
And there's an Opataya fight in about 5 hours.
Opataya and Nakatani fights in a unification.
Yeah, so we'll watch that and then we'll go. We'll do all of it.
Let's do it. All right, guys, keep it locked in. Raheem and me will have a video up by the morning. You're going to watch Nakatani too?
Yeah.
Sweet. Hey, just watch the highlights and we'll tell them you watched.
That's the co-main, right?
No. Nakatani's his own main event in Japan.
What is that on? Fucking hell! What, is that on DAZN?
That's ESPN, but you'll have the login.
Okay. All right. Fine.
All right, brother.
All right. Later.
Later, bro. No, Raheem is James G. Raheem is in England, so it's like, I don't know, a ridiculous time in England right now. That's what that is. Raheem doesn't smoke weed. You know, I'm the weed smoker on the podcast. That would be me. But anyways, I was gonna say about Keshan, like, this is really tough to bring up, but people are saying, oh, you know, this and that about how he acted. Remember, Keshan, you know, talked about his mental health struggles, and unlike maybe other fighters who would use that as an excuse, I suspect his is more real. He has more of, and I've struggled with this in my mental health. I try to not even use these new politically correct terms, but, you know, with being manic, I could see that from Keshan as someone who struggled with it myself, being a little manic depressive. You know, we're not excusing what he did to Albright. There's no excuse for it, but something to keep in mind about Keshan. Lester Walnut says, controversy sells. Boxing needed this moment. Now everyone's talking. I don't know, Lester. I don't know if this is... I hear you, you know, like, you know, controversy sells. All publicity is good publicity, but I don't know, man. I think the Brotherhood Sports says you need to smoke with Keshan. I agree. I agree. If I wasn't... I just don't want to be a bad influence. I've told him multiple times, bro, when you retire... Let's do that. Let's smoke. Because I think Keshan's cool people. I would like to smoke with him. I haven't loved that hubris that went to his head since he became champion, but he's young, and you're watching them grow up before your very eyes. And, you know, I suspect he wouldn't stay like that. You know, so we'll see. But we got to get back to that. But back to you, Lester. I don't know, man. I think what boxing needed was Keshan to show up and show out in Virginia, and Abdullah to be the co-main and make everyone clamor for that fight, and then both blow the roof off the place. And for boxing to have an American fighter that can actually consistently sell out an arena in America. Like, I think that's what boxing needed. But to your point, I mean, yes, controversy does get us talking, but I don't think anybody's saying anything good. Tay-Day says, I'm high right now, making a bacon, egg, and cheese. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Sounds wonderful. I might be doing similar activities in a moment. Wait, you know what? Let me show off the Switch 2. I'm going to call wifey. Tell her we got to show off the Switch. This is just going to deteriorate into flexing Larry Johnson jerseys and Nintendo Switch 2. Let's see. Wifey, can I show off the Switch 2 downstairs? Bring it on down. Yeah, bring it down. Let's bring me and Leo gonna flex. Come downstairs, Leo. All right. Now it's time for the moment you all really waited for. You guys wanted the round by round. And what do you think of Keshan? You guys came to see the Switch 2. Don't even lie. Don't even lie. That's what you guys came for. I'm gonna give it to you. While Tay-Day is smoking and eating a bacon, egg, cheese, I will be joining him high as shit too, playing Mario Kart World in a minute, but not yet. We gotta end this live the right way. What are we doing right now? We're descending. You know, we're descending into just fun now. We hit we got through all the important stuff. American fighters and blah 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 blah. Abdullah Mason. Let's get to Switch 2. Let's get to the real important news of the week. The Switch 2 came out. I hate to tell you guys, the new Mario Kart's kind of mid. It's kind of mid. I thought, and I'm a diehard Nintendo fan. I'm finding the new Mario Kart World kind of mid, but I'm still going to play the shit out of it. What do I think of the DB3 backstage fiasco? It's really bad. It's not good. Bunch of other obvious things I could say. It's the culmination of a dream weekend that turned into a nightmare for the Davis brothers. Yeah. But at least we got Scooter Davis on the undercard. I do like Scooter Davis. I can't wait to hear Sean P. and Ant's thoughts on all this. Yeah, they're going to keep it all the way real. So they're not going to hedge. They're not going to hedge their talk like me. They're going to keep it all the way real, especially Ant. Ant is going to be disappointed because Ant loves Keshan. Ant loves Keshan. Ant thinks Keshan is going to be the next pound-for-pound king. So Ant's going to show him some tough country love. I know how Ant's going to do. Sean's going to do the same. Let's see. James G says, I'm off a 20 milligram edible, eating taco dinner. I will be joining all of you shortly. What's up, Leo? Let's show the people the Switch 2. Oh, that boy got his hair out his face. He's got the... Show him. Oh! Go ahead, show him. Show it off. Show it off. You want to show them how Mario Kart's looking? All right. What do you think about it, Leo? What's your thought? Give them your review. The people want to know, is the Switch 2 good?
Yeah, it had good graphics.
It has good graphics? All right, let's see. Hold up. All right, check it out. Hold on.
If you think it is, then think whatever you want, if it's good or not.
Oh, they can make up their own mind? Think
Yes.
what you're telling them. Go ahead, tell them again.
You can make up your own mind if it
Look
looks
at him.
good graphics or not.
Look at him. My son don't try to indoctrinate. He lets people think. He's got the Mario Kart world. And Leo, what's your favorite mode?
Usually sometimes free mode and battle mode.
Free mode and battle mode. All right. Well, I'm going to get off in a minute, chat. I'm going to give people the business online. Like that. All right, Leo, go ahead. I'll be upstairs soon.
Can I see something?
What do you want to show the people?
I have to tell something to you.
What?
I want to build one of the...
You want to put the Megazord together? Go ahead, show them the Megazord, and then go ahead and go back upstairs with your Switch 2, okay?
Because I am so confused for one thing.
Here, give it to Daddy. Let me see. I got you. This is how we end our streams. Hold on. Get that, my man. You know what I'm saying? He wants... I forgot. Hold up, chat. I'm gonna get you off the stream and help him with this. Hold on. Wait. No. I tell you what, son. Let Daddy finish his talks, and I'll get this on there for you, okay? Alright. Oh no, I did it. I don't need to get off. Here we go. See? Go ahead. Here you go, okay? Go ahead, son. Dad's gonna finish work. Alright, so the Dragon Zord. Yeah, we got the Dragon Zord. Of course we got the Dragon Zord. You got the... I should be embarrassed, but what do you think this is? What kind of man-child do you think you're speaking to? No, I fixed it, Remy. I fixed it. This is history, bro. You guys are going to watch this video while your son is grown up showing his college friends. Yes, the week the Switch 2 came out. People, they're saying, what's up, Leo?
What's up?
Does boxing journalism pay well? Not looking for a dollar range. Just it's a new era in media. Media now is no longer about building up a resume and working for one of the big major outlets. I mean, that still exists, but YouTube, brother, start your channel tomorrow. Make the algorithm your friend, and the sky is the limit. It's all about what can you produce content-wise. What interviews can you get? Do you even need interviews? Can you put together original content that's so good that you don't even need the fighter's access? And the sky's the limit. We've never, I liken YouTube being created to like the television being created, the printing press, the newspaper being created. Like, it's an explosion of media that the opportunities and possibilities are endless. So how much money can you make? It all depends on what kind of content you're able to produce. So yeah. Or you could just, be super cool and wind up getting an ESPN job for like $200,000 a year. You could also do that. Leo Santa Zittel, like Leo Santa Cruz. Where's the White Tiger Zord? Right there. What'd you do? Hold up.
I was doing exercise.
White Tiger Zord right there, baby. Hold on. Boom, he right there. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Movie is right there.
You want to take your Switch and go back to see Mommy?
Oh yeah, I want to see my mom, mate.
Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody on channel.
Who's your favorite boxer, Leo?
Canelo.
Canelo? I thought it was the Monster.
I changed my mind.
Wait. Before you get out of here, let's show him your boxing. Hold up, right here. Go ahead, show him. Give me the right hand.
Read this one?
Yep, the right hand. Turn it over. Breathe on the punch. There you go. There you go. All right. We got a brick. Here you go, son. Take it. Take it. All right. Love you, son. I'll be up soon. All right, chat. Anything we got to touch on before I get out of here? Let's smoke this weed and play this Mario Kart. And just wait, what? Huh? No, I didn't. He didn't hear that.
I still want to
He
stay.
doesn't even know what that means. Huh?
I still want to stay.
Love you, babe.
I want to still stay.
Leo getting that work in. Yep. Omar says, Sean, weren't you supposed to be in Virginia today? I was, but those flights to Norfolk, there's not a lot of them. So you're not going to get home for 2 days. It's not like flying into New York or LA. I could just fly in and then fly out. Like I'd have been stuck there till Monday. Had to get a hotel room for Saturday, Sunday. It's a lot of money. Between 2 nights in a hotel, the lift to and from the arena, food, the flight being $500. I was going to wind up losing money probably even with Keshan headlining. But once the fight got canceled, I was like, I'm staying home and doing it round by round. And I'll just take the flight, $500 flight credit for when I have to travel somewhere else. So, but it does suck to not be there. I did feel kind of like a wuss. Like, man, if you want to be the best, you should get your ass on that flight and just do what you got to do. But I don't know. Then we wouldn't get to have this round by round, right? So. Do I think Keshan missed weight on purpose to get an advantage? I don't. Jay Sayan asks. I don't know. Only he knows that. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. And maybe he didn't want to budge on the money. And that's why it's curious that the fight didn't happen and De Los Santos got paid anyways. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Part of me wonders. Like, did Keshan call the fight off? I don't know. To answer your question, I do not know. Only Keshan knows that. But part of me wonders, was Top Rank like, hey man, we gotta still put this fight on. You gotta give him $200,000. You gotta give him $300,000. And Keshan balked, and Top Rank and De Los Santos is telling Top Rank. Top Rank's telling Keshan, there's no fight, bro, unless you give this guy like half your purse. He's pissed. He's not gonna fight. And Keshan's like, to hell with it. I'm not giving him half my purse. You guys do your job. You're supposed to be my promoter. Handle it, And eventually they just settled on the fight's off then. And De Los Santos will just get what he gets. And I wonder, like, I'm making a joke here about the great Bob Arum, but I wonder if this was the final nail in the coffin that made Bob like, oh, Lord, take me. Lord, just take me. Because... Bob keeps like, okay, Tio's not fucking with me, all right, whatever. Shakur, let's put our research, okay, Shakur against De Los Santos was terrible and he wants to leave me. Okay, whatever. Devin Haney, we got Devin Haney for 3 fights, right? With Cambodia, let's do the Loma fight. Okay, I thought Lomachenko won and that I slipped and let that be heard on the mic. Now Devin hates me. He doesn't want to work with me either. Devin doesn't want to work with me. Tio doesn't want to work with me. Shakur doesn't want to work with me. They all want a sugar daddy. They all want to get paid what they're not actually worth. And my company either underpays you, which isn't right, or actually pays you what you're worth, and nobody wants to fight for what they're worth anymore. They want Eddie or Al or Turkey Al-Sheikh is the newest, biggest one. Who can overpay me? Who can pay me more than what I actually sell ticket-wise, revenue-wise, right? And I wonder, he's like, okay, so Devin and Tio and Shakur, they all told me to go fuck myself. Keshan, you're the next Sugar Ray Leonard. Keshan Davis, an Olympian. I love it. Keshan will be the flagship fighter of Top Rank. And then Keshan does this. And so I wonder at what point that Bob goes, oh, just fuck it. Like the game has passed me by. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do anymore. We protect them. We get them pretty easy fights. We always find a way to make them WBO world champion. And then they just wind up leaving me anyways for someone who will overpay them. And I wonder if Bob is just like, oh, fuck the hell with it already. Lord, take me now. You know, I'm kidding, but kind of serious at the same time. And now the only kid I got left, Abdullah, he can't sell. He's a nice Muslim kid. He's not going to talk trash. And his name, he doesn't have that easy American name. What am I supposed to do now? So, I love Bob. I don't know. I don't know what he's supposed to do. And Bob's certainly not a saint. The WBO does whatever he wants. And, God, where did the $90 million... After Haney-Lomachenko, I feel like Top Rank packed it in on ESPN. Like, I feel like Haney and Lomachenko, it is the last pay-per-view they ever did. And that was the last time it felt like they were really trying to move the needle and make big things happen. It feels like ever since Haney and Loma, they've just been riding out this ESPN deal with lackluster fights. And so I'm not shilling for Bob Arum, but I am saying the dude is the greatest promoter maybe of all time, either him or King, and easily the greatest active promoter, you know, put on some of the greatest fights ever. And he's trying to do what's kind of always worked. You build the kid up, you keep him active, you sign him out of the Olympics, you get him a WBO title to get his feet wet as champion, and then with the hopes that the guy becomes a star and makes your company some fucking money. And that is just not... Some of it is his company's doing, but some of it is this old 92 to 93-year-old man is coming up in a different generation of fighters. And Bob's not going to find a way to promote, to find a way to do what's been done with Tank. He doesn't know how to market that way, and he's not going to do the Jake Paul thing and market that way. Bob's a traditionalist, but he's operating in with common sense in a time where sense is no longer so common. The tried and true method of taking an Olympian, making him world champion, it's not working anymore. And so then what are you supposed to do? Because the Jake Paul stuff isn't sustainable. You can't even really which fighter was on Disney Channel when they were 15? Let's sign him and make him a huge star fighting no boxers. Like that you can't replicate that. I don't know. Am I making sense? Did I name my son Leo Santa Cruz Leo named his son after Al Heyman? I did not, Devin Haney. I named him Leo because we were going to call him Santino, but from The Godfather, because I just thought Santino was a gangster-ass beautiful name. I wanted something both strong and beautiful. So basically something Italian that ended in a vowel. So I was going to go Santino, but I'm not 100% Italian. I'm half Italian. Santino is a name you can only name your kid if you're full Goomba. So I didn't want to perpetrate. And then also, Santino gets killed in The Godfather. So that's not a good omen. So I said, okay, Santino, what else could work? Leonardo. And then I like Leonardo DiCaprio, and I like Leonardo da Vinci, and I like Leonardo from the Ninja Turtles. He's the leader. So Leonardo it was. I think you were trying to throw shade at me, though, like I'm an Al Heyman shill or something. Am I wrong about that, Devin Haney? I've seen your account shit on me in my comments, which is your right. I'm just happy that you come to the channel. But yeah, anything... I don't know, chat. What else do we do now? Yes, Lion. The Lion Heart. That's what his name means. Haney is the only one that's had pay-per-view fights, whether you like him or not. Floyd and nobody else had pay-per-view fights. Look, yes, a lot has been said negative about Haney in the aftermath of the Ryan Garcia fight. But undisputed lightweight champion, the youngest undisputed lightweight champion in boxing history, I believe the youngest undisputed champion in men's boxing history in the four-belt era. And nice win over Prograis for the WBC strap. It's always nice to add a WBC strap to your collection. He did it in his first fight in a shutout at 140. I think Haney, all the way up until the Prograis fight, was building a beautiful career. And then he got into the wrong lane. He sees Gervonta made a shit ton of money fighting Ryan, and it made him the man without the belts. And it's like, run your race, young man. Don't get caught up in that. That's going to sidetrack you. And that's exactly what it did. That's why I'm not moved. I got dragged in my comments. Oh, Sean, you're defending the racist Teofimo. Even though I clearly have said in multiple videos, including that video, I defend and stand by none of the racist shit Teo said. It's inexcusable. I don't care what the angle is. And I don't like political correctness. I don't. But, the hard R with the N-word is not politically correct. It's just there's exceptions to every rule. And I am an ardent free speech First Amendment guy. And I don't think that the N-word should be illegal. But I do think, because I don't think any word should be illegal, but I do think that word is an exception to the rule. Roy Jones was an exception to boxing rules. I think an exception to the First Amendment, you shouldn't be saying the hard R. You shouldn't be walking around saying that. But that's just me. But anyways, I say all that to say, that's why I wasn't moved when Teo ducked Devin. You notice I didn't say Boots ducked Teo, so I'm not going to say that Teo ducked Devin. It's the same scenario. When people were running with the narrative that Boots ducked Teofimo, I went on Twitter and I said the real business at 147 is Boots versus Norman. So that was me, giving my take. I'm not on this Boots is ducking Teo bullshit. The real business at 147 is Boots and Norman. So same thing. When Devin is trying to fight Teofimo in a non-title fight at a catch weight, I'm not moved by it. I'm not going to shake my pom-poms that, oh, Teo ducked Devin. No. They want to fight. That's the sugar daddy money. They could have fought for real money in 2024. Teo beat Josh Taylor in June. What was it? June of 24 or June of 23? By 2024, I think 23 he beat Taylor. Teo, there's a wrinkle in time where Devin has beaten Prograis and he's the number one guy at 140, and Teo has beaten Taylor and he's the champion at 140. And they are both WBC, WBO, Ring Magazine, everything right there. And then all of a sudden, both of them didn't know who they were. Used to don't know who the other one is. I'd ask Teo, what do you think of fighting Devin now? Unification 140. Who? Huh? The dream? It's his dream. I don't know. He's living in it. And then Devin, what do you think of Teo? All of a sudden, forgets about Teo. He wants Ryan. Why do you want Ryan? Ryan's not a world champion. Ryan's biggest accomplishment was losing by knockout to Tank. Oh, money. Because you'll make money fighting Ryan. It's an easier fight. Oh, so now you're doing this, Devin. You're doing I can make more money for less of a risk fighting Ryan. And getting caught up in that got you caught up. You were better off on the straight and narrow. I want to be champion. I want to be undisputed. I want to move up and win multiple titles. I want to be number one pound for pound. Staying on that track is what kept him on the straight and narrow, kept him on the right path, diverging. And it's like, you're not Tank. That's Tank's path. That's what's working for him. What's working for you is the traditional route, trying to rack up accomplishments. Tank has carved out, with Floyd's help, this other lane, this other shit he's got going on. Don't try to compete with that. So the time for them to fight was 2024. WBC, WBO, 140 pounds, lineal title on the line, ESPN. Hearn only had Haney for the one Prograis fight with an option to match the second fight. So Haney could go to Top Rank and say, let's do this Teo fight. Teo's with Top Rank. You just fought on pay-per-view against Haney, against Lomachenko on Top Rank pay-per-view. Oh, but you don't want to go to Top Rank because two things. They're going to probably pay you what you're actually worth, and based on what your pay-per-view and your ticket sales come up with. And two, Bob gave his honest opinion that Lomachenko beat you. So now your pride is too hurt to go back to Bob? Come on, he's Bob fucking Arum. Whatever. He has the right. He's 92 years old. If he thought Loma won the fight, he could think that. Get over it. But I wouldn't say all that to Devin, but I would say he's 92 years old. Let him have his opinion. And that was the time to do the fight. Now, what is the fight? The fight doesn't really have momentum. Would I still want to see it? Of course. They're in their 20s still. And it's Teofimo freaking Lopez and Devin freaking Haney. Of course I'm there to see it. Not literally because it's in Saudi, but yes, of course. But that was the time to do it. The fight doesn't really have... You tell me, chat, did it make more sense in 2024 for a unification at 140, or does it make more sense with both of their momentum and at 145 pounds in a non-title fight in Saudi Arabia? The original hope was both of you were going to become such stars that you could fight in America against each other and put on a big show. Not become a star in America and then fight in Saudi in a catchweight for no title. That's why I didn't cry over that fight falling apart. That's my take on it. And so yeah, Devin needs to find a way to get back on that path and needs to find a way to build off the Ramirez win and be the fighter he was before Ryan Garcia, and even better. And an even better version of that fighter. And, he's still got Hall of Fame written all over him. He's already a borderline Hall of Famer. I know that sounds blasphemous to some of you guys, but he is. Lomachenko's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he beat him in an undisputed title fight. And Lomachenko, I thought live in the arena, won that fight. When I got home and watched it on TV, I thought Haney won the fight. It was a close fight. So, yeah. The fight is trash, says Brotherhood Sports. It's a snooze fest matchup. Well, Tio was saying, Floyd told me just put the high guard up and walk him down. Yeah, but you don't do that, Tio. When have we ever seen Tio fight in a high guard for a consistent 3 minutes of a round? He's like I'm being funny. Like, he's got too much ADD to do a high guard. He does his, he's going to do all that shit. I've never seen Tio for 3 minutes of a round just come forward in a high guard. So it's like, yeah, Floyd, you're right. Tio with his speed, power, and explosiveness and creativity, if he were to go high in a high guard, hypothetically, like you did against Judah and McGregor, yeah, he probably could step to Devin and beat him. But he's never done that. He is a lead hand low at his waist, boxer counterpuncher. Like that's his style. And we've seen whether it's Sandor Martin or Jermaine Ortiz or even George Kambosos, who used his movement that night, he struggles against movers. So you got one guy who right now seems like the better overall fighter in Lopez. He's twitchier, he's more explosive, he punches harder. But Devin has the style that has always given him fits, and he's a little bit bigger and longer than he is. So I may have even picked Devin in that hypothetical fight. But what does the fight mean right now? It wouldn't have even been for a title. So cool it, in my opinion, cool it on the Tio ducked Devin. And look, Boots didn't duck Tio. And if you want to say Tio ducked Devin, that's fine, because he did turn down $11 million and $7 million previously. But the fight's VADA tested, and Haney and Conti are like this, and Conti and VADA are like this. And if you're Teofimo, you have the right to be suspicious about that they're going to use this testing to weaponize it against me. They're going to make sure I'm clean, and they're going to let him, like that. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but Teofimo has a right to feel that way. And now he's called Turki Al-Sheikh a dictator, and he's going to fight in Riyadh on a Turkey card after calling him that and expect to get a fair shake. All that said, you could still call it a duck, but my point is I'm not moved by it. It's not like the fight has any momentum anyways. And I'll sum it up this way. Again, I didn't say that Boots was a duck when he wasn't interested in fighting Lopez in Riyadh. I'm not going to call Lopez a duck for the same reason with Haney. It's the same standard. I'm being consistent. So, Boots or Abdullah, who's more of a prodigy? It's Abdullah, because he's 20 and Boots is 27. And Abdullah already has 19 professional fights at 20, and Boots has 33 at 27. So, it's Abdullah. But Abdullah hasn't shown the upper body. It's Abdullah, but Boots has still shown more in his bag than Abdullah. Boots does things that are so creative and talented and flashy and dynamic that other fighters can only dream of. He is the flashiest fighter in boxing today. And I don't mean it like, he's flash, sizzle without steak. No, plenty of substance to that flash. But man, that flash is something else. Boots is the flashiest fighter in boxing today, but his career hasn't been moved well. A guy with his talent could have been undisputed welterweight champion already. But boxing moves funny. It moves at a snail's pace these days. A lot of that's not his fault. But Abdullah is with Top Rank at 20. He's already headlining on an ESPN show at 20. Boots didn't get to headline a Showbox till he was 23. So Abdullah is set up for success in a way at his age that Boots was not. So to answer your question, Abdullah. But Boots is the flashiest, sauciest fighter in the game today. How is 18-3 a Hall of Fame fighter? Because at 18-3, he beat multiple world champions, and at 18-3, he accomplished things as a professional no other professional has accomplished. We're in the 4-belt era. He didn't unify in his first 2 weight classes. But with that being said, Vasyl Lomachenko is the quickest fighter to a world title in boxing history. He's the quickest fighter to a title in 2 weight classes in boxing history. He's the quickest fighter to a world title in 3 weight classes in boxing history. And beating up Gary Russell, Guillermo Rigondeaux, Nicholas Walters, Jose Pedraza, Jorge Linares, a former undisputed champion of George Kambosos. These are solid, good wins. You mentioned, I think he's a 6-time world champion in 3 divisions, and he did it in a number of fights no other fighter had ever done. And he's a Hall of Famer. In this era, where the Hall of Fame is becoming watered down, it's that much easier to get Lomachenko in there. So Lomachenko's a Hall of Famer, whether you like it or I like it or not. And I will vote for Lomachenko in the Hall of Fame. That doesn't mean I think Lomachenko is messing with a 130 Floyd or is one of the greatest of all time. No, but he was a great fighter in his day. And to put it simply, how did he do it at 18-3? Quality over quantity. He accomplished a lot in those 21 fights and evolutionized how fighters are moved coming out of the amateurs. Not revolutionized, but evolutionized it. Now, when you come out of the amateurs, look at Andy Cruz at 5-0. He's already, and I know Leon Spinks fought Ali at 7-0, winning the gold medal, but it's just guys are expected to move that much quicker because what Lomachenko accomplished in a few fights. So, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. So Adrian Broner, the youngest 3-division champ ever, is a Hall of Fame. Broner doesn't have the quality of wins that Lomachenko has. I think a much better argument is that Mikey Garcia is a Hall of Famer that people don't talk about compared to Lomachenko. Mikey Garcia might have a better resume than Loma. Mikey Garcia became champion in 4 divisions, not 3. Mikey Garcia beat Orlando Salido, who beat Lomachenko. Mikey Garcia beat Jesse Vargas, a welterweight. Mikey Garcia unified against Robert Easter. Mikey Garcia has an underrated resume, and if you compare it to Lomachenko, it's much closer than you think. So rather than raise a Adrian Broner, I would raise a Mikey Garcia. We could look at their resumes right now. It's pretty close. Broner is a 4-division champ. There's not many of those. Yeah, but Broner really, a lot of people thought he lost to Daniel Ponce de Leon when he had the WBO strap at 130. His finest moment was definitely beating DeMarco, and the biggest name on his resume was Paulie, but Paulie wasn't really a welterweight, and Paulie gave him a much tougher fight than expected. And then Broner beats, I can't even remember who he beat at 130 for the belt, and a lot of people thought he loses to Daniel Ponce de Leon. He beats DeMarco, who knocked out Linares and had the WBC strap. That's Broner's finest moment. That's one of the best performances of the last 15 years. Atlantic City, November 2012, Broner DeMarco. He did that. That was an incredible performance. After DeMarco, though, he beats Alakirdiev for the WBA 140 belt. He beats Paulie for the 147 WBA belt, and that's it. He never unifies in any of those weight classes. And 2 of the 4 fighters he beat for those titles are complete unknowns. I mean, I cannot remember who he beat for the title. Do you? And nobody remembers Alakirdiev with the WBA strap. He still did that. You still won a title. But you have to contextualize those 4 divisions. I think Mikey Garcia has a much stronger, including beating Broner head-to-head. I think Mikey is the one that deserves to be, well, if you're going to put Loma in, why not put Mikey in? More than Broner. But, that's just my take on it. Loma versus Garcia. Truly, can you really say that's even close? And let's take a look at it. You guys will be surprised, because I was surprised. Someone in the business, he brought that to my attention. Like, hey, you need to, you're tripping. Mikey's a Hall of Famer too. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe. So let's look it up. And this will surprise you. And this is Lomachenko retirement week, so this is relevant. All right, let's compare, right? So Lomachenko's best wins are going to be Kambosos, Jermaine Ortiz, even Richard Comey, who was a former IBF champ, Luke Campbell, Jose Pedraza, Jorge Linares, Guillermo Rigondeaux, Nicholas Walters, and Gary Russell, right? And he loses to Salido, who Mikey knocked out or beat. And he ultimately wins 2, 3, 4, hold on. 4, 5, because the box rec doesn't show the WBA anymore, but he did win the WBA title. 5, and then he wins an IBF strap. So 6-time world champion in 3 divisions, and we saw his best wins. Let's compare Mikey, okay? First, we'll do belts. So Loma won 6 titles in 3 divisions. Mikey won, let's see here. Where did he win his first title at? I think it was Salido. Yeah, WBO, so that's 1 title. WBO in super featherweight, that's 2. The lightweight title, so that's 3. WBC. Then he unifies, or he wins the IBF at 140, so that's 4 titles in 4 divisions. And then he wins the IBF at lightweight, so that's 5 titles in 4 weight classes. So you got Lomachenko with 6 titles in 3 weight classes, and you got Mikey with 5 titles in 4 weight classes. It's basically even. Now let's compare the best wins. And let's start with Mikey beat Salido. That's a good head-to-head feather in his cap, considering Salido beat Lomachenko. He knocked out a washed Juanma Lopez, who was a former champ. He beats Adrian Broner, which is a good win at 140 pounds. He beats a world champion in Sergey Lipinets. That's a good win at 140 pounds. He unifies against an undefeated Robert Easter. That's a good win at 140 pounds. And he beats 147-pounder Jesse Vargas. So his best wins are Jesse Vargas, Robert Easter, Lipinets, Broner, Juanma, and Salido. Loma's best wins are going to be Kambosos, Jermaine Ortiz, Comey, Campbell, Pedraza, Linares, Rigondeaux, Walters, and Russell. So I think Lomachenko has a little bit the stronger resume, but it's pretty damn close. 6 titles in 3 divisions against 5 and 4. Lomachenko has a little bit stronger names, but to equal that out, Mikey beats up and dominates a guy that he lost to on his record. It's a lot closer than you think. Mikey Garcia, I think, might be a Hall of Famer. I think he is. And he's also, pound for pound, one of the great punchers in boxing history, believe it or not. That dude could really fucking punch. Who would have won head-to-head? Mikey had all the tools to beat Lomachenko. You could look at what Linares executed against Lomachenko and think Garcia takes it a step further. Mikey was better than Linares, and he punched harder. But Mikey didn't love boxing, and I think if he doesn't knock Lomachenko out and it's a competitive fight, I think Lomachenko had a little bit better gas tank, and I think his feints would have allowed him to get off a little bit down the stretch. But, Loma might have been gun-shy like he was against Lopez with the threat of Mikey's positioning and power. It's a huge what-if. That's one of the fights that truly got away, Mikey and Loma. It was a 50-50 fight. I might edge it to Loma, but it's because of temperament. I think Mikey had all the tools to line Lomachenko out and line him up and beat him. But I think Loma, even though he gave up the 12th round against Devin and Tio and didn't fight for 6 rounds against Tio, I think Loma might have had a little bit more desire and dog in him than Garcia, who admitted he never really loved boxing. And I think that dog would have made Loma exhausts himself a little bit down the stretch of a close fight might allow him to pull out a decision. I don't know. We'll never know. Loma has the edge in I agree. I think he edges it out. Just the point I was making was it's a lot closer than you think, than I thought until I examined it. So yeah. But I'm out, guys. I'm going to head out. I will catch you guys later. I'm going to play some Mario Kart World. I might Boots versus Val Saint. Darrell Val Saint is slept on and very good. I like Darrell Val Saint. But I'm going to get off, hang out with the fam. What's up, Leo? What up?
It's good.
Show him the shirt. Look at how drippy his shirt is, man.
Actually, I was playing with Milo Sims.
You're doing what?
I'm playing with my little toys.
Your little Samus?
Yeah.
You want Daddy to get off from work?
What is that?
You want me to stop working now?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right, bye, guys. You guys have a great night. Maybe I'll wake up early and do the Nakatani fight. Probably not. I'll probably just watch it. Be on the lookout for me and Raheem recapping everything that's gone on over the weekend tomorrow in the morning. God bless all you guys. And thanks for tuning in, man. Thank you, everybody. Like, comment, and subscribe, blah, 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 if you haven't already. All right. Peace. Say bye, Leo.
Bye!
Go ahead.
I don't know what that is.
That's the volume. Watch. Be loud.